Hello! Good evening, everyone. Can you hear us? Yes. Hello. I just realized 2 seconds ago that I didn't turn on my mic yet, but it's on. We're here live with Parallel Projections, and tonight we're going to play a tabletop game that we've played so many times before. Right, guys?
Oh yeah, so much.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah, I'm so well versed in the rules.
So many times.
What are we playing?
How do you... Yeah, what's a TTRPG?
Mork Bork, right? No? Yes?
Yeah.
No, tonight we're playing Vampire the Masquerade, and I'm super excited about it. It's an awesome system. I've read through it a bunch, but I've actually never played it. So tonight's going to be a first, and I have all these lovely people that are joining me tonight. We have Eric, Jasper from the Voidcast.
Yeah, I'm only Eric if I do this really well tonight.
Okay, otherwise yeah, all right. Of course.
So we're not sure who that is.
Of course, we have the amazing Ashley, who we know for being British, as our narrator, keeper, dungeon master, game master. And we are joined by DM Shanks once again. And for first time here, Lady Q, both from Topdown Tabletop. It's so amazing to have you two here, to have all of you here, of course. And I'm super, excited to play. So does anyone want to say anything before we start this off? Help? So how's chat doing? Give me a second. Help? Give me a second to breathe. What's chat doing? Somebody speak.
They all seem excited. We got a hype train going on.
Yeah, we had
Oh, the hype train is already on. Nice.
And
we have ourselves like a followers. Gift sub war between some people in the community right now. It's great.
Thank you all so much for the gifted subs and the support. It's great. We love doing this, and the more that you guys support us, the more we can do this and do these awesome things where we sit around and play tabletop RPGs with other people. And well, if you like what you're seeing, because we have to talk about our social media stuff. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and follow to our Twitch and YouTube channels where you can find all our content. But also go and do the same thing for Top Down Tabletop and your own personal channels, DM Shanks and Lady Q on Twitch. They all produce awesome content. I really enjoy to hear Shanks scream every Sunday.
It's a delight.
Yeah, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. And well, yeah. I don't know what to say anymore. So maybe we should throw it to the intro and start playing?
Sounds good to me.
Is that what we're doing? All right. Let's do it.
I think you can decide.
I can decide, yes. I haven't even had time to read chat, but I believe you guys in that probably everything's going. Okay. I'm just going to roll the opening cinematic sequence thing.
Welcome to London, a writhing hub of humanity. Every century, this decadent, bloated mass of a city somehow reinvents itself and continues to thrive. From medieval squalor through Tudor arrogance, past Victorian ingenuity, and into modern capitalist globalism. The city just endures. And with it, beneath it, behind the facade of humans scurrying about their pathetic short lives, the clans have always been here, thriving in the anonymity offered by such a big city, whilst benefiting from its high, close buildings and narrow, dark streets. Tomorrow night there is to be a gathering, a social event like no other. The National Gallery, a building now standing on the remains of the first coven house of London's most ancient vampire nobility, plays host to a special event, the Autumnal Equinox, the first night of the Vampire New Year, when night overtakes day and we begin to hunt anew. It is marked also with a solar eclipse, falling just moments after sunrise. This moment was foretold 10,000 years ago, when our kind was brand new. Its significance, lost, but some whisper it is the sign of our ascendance, the time to throw off the shackles of the Masquerade, take our place as rulers of the world. These lunatics are few and far between, though. Most of us are just seeing it as a prime way to reforge bonds of friendship and fealty and strike up new allegiances in the technological age of possibility before us. But mutterings of disquiet have shattered the merriment. Secret messages pass this day before the holiest of days, a summoning of vampires from all over the world and from different clans and heritages. A political move, no doubt, seeking to show no favouritism, but one with a grave purpose. You were all summoned to Oxford Circus train station at dusk by the Duke, the Prince and Camarilla of London, for a task as yet unknown. The summons was cryptic, but the urgency behind the message was not lost upon your masters, as they sent you immediately to answer the call. In a slightly dark underground carriage, rattling and rumbling its way towards Oxford Circus station, sits a beautiful, beautiful man. He is dressed quite casually, and if he'd like to introduce himself.
Yes. Dr. Victor Garnett sits in his seat quite regally, with a look that says, "Do not approach," plastered on his face. He's got rather modern, trendy clothing and hair. Looks like he comes from wealth. But the real tell of his status is the way he carries himself. With his trimmed just so, almost stubble-length beard, to the way that every edge of his clothing is just perfectly pressed. He sits with a small case in his lap and looks around, sort of scoffs at the lower class he's traveling with, trying to hide his distaste for them and the hunger that burns with it.
So, your eyes are drawn to one particular scruffy individual, sitting towards the end of the same carriage. And if he would like to introduce himself.
So, in the corner of the carriage, you see what looks to be somewhere in his 40s or 50s, hippie. Seems to come straight from Woodstock. He wears a lemmy coat and a bunch of scarves. And another thing that you notice is that he's not wearing any shoes, as he is bare feet. And you can hear him just talk into the air, or the person besides him. "Yeah, name's Dan Elliott. It's great to be here. Came here some 30 years ago. And, my feet, you ask? Well, I mean, I believe that feet should not be caged in the irons of modern capitalism. And my bare feet touch the ground and that connects me to the Earth Mother, as they say. So, what are you doing here?
Well, I think you know why I'm here, and for God's sake, put some shoes on.
He seems actually surprised that somebody answered. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were going to the same thing. Summons and stuff, who mysterious, right?
Actually, I volunteered.
Really? You volunteered? I had to
Yes, you see, people from my clan are actually in the know of what's going on in the world, rather than wasting our time sticking our feet in the dirt.
Well, I had to skip my yoga class today, so that I teach yoga and meditation. Also, I'm a high priest Wiccan, so yeah, I had to give that up to be here. So I'd rather I'd be someplace else. But let's just see what's going on, right? All right.
So as you are having this discussion, the carriage and the train begin to slow down, and you see the markings of Oxford Street Station, your intended destination.
Well, this seems to be us.
Well, after you, my friend.
Naturally. He wasn't slowing. He was going to go through first anyway.
So, you alight the carriage, and it's dusk, Oxford Street. There is a lot of people coming and going, a lot of revelers ready for a night out, all sort of heading towards the very classy Soho area for the clubs. What you do notice is as they all approach the ticket booth, they seem to be staying away from one particular ticket barrier, which is manned by two very large, very still, and quite pale individuals who seem to catch your eye as you come up the escalator and mention for you to go forward into their booth.
Mother Earth's giving me signs.
I think it's just your eyes, to be honest, but yes, I do believe it's this way.
So they open the barrier for you and mention you to head towards a long corridor. All the main people are sort of heading up towards the exit of the station. This seems to be heading down a side corridor, and you can see the entrance from there, and you see a very handsome Bentley show up just outside the main doors, even though there's a no stopping. That's a trifling that it's a no stopping area. And out steps a very well dressed lady. And if she'd like to introduce herself.
Oh, always. So, as a random apparent servant rushes to open this car door, a long, shapely leg extends with a heeled boot at the end to touch the sidewalk. Enfolding her statuesque figure from the vehicle, what emerges is a snapshot of the Victorian, a herald of a bygone era, though the woman herself appears quite young. Julianna Foster, when you look at her, is stunningly beautiful, with soft features, large brown doe-like eyes, and chestnut hair piled intricately on her head, and she knows how to make an entrance. Arms spread wide, a parasol hooked over her elbow. Her style is, in a word, old-fashioned. Long, wide skirts, lace tops, elaborate jewelry, turning to look this way and that, ignoring the collecting stares of any onlookers. Her eyes light on these two gentlemen and widen slightly as though she thinks, this is what I'm here for. And she takes two gliding steps, saying, "Oh, well, hello, darlings."
Good night, ma'am. Good evening.
How do you do? And she extends her hand for a moment, not seeming to know who to, but then to the one who spoke first.
Namaste.
Indeed. And she curtsies grandly and takes her hand back.
You're also here for the meeting, I presume.
Well, with such a busy schedule as what I hold, it had to be something important. So, of course, that's the most important thing going on tonight.
Well, I had my yoga classes, but I had to skip on those this evening.
Listen, we're
How unfortunate
representing
for you.
the clans in our home country tonight. Could you stop complaining about your yoga class?
Well, I just, well, I can certainly
No,
try.
no,
if
dear.
it bothers you that much.
So reaching out, not touching him, but kind of like in a soothing gesture towards the doctor, I think it was.
Yes.
Julianna says, now, dear, to each their own. It does seem quite a shame to have such a shakeup. Might I ask, why would you skip such an important event as a yoga class to come here, sir?
You're asking me? Well,
Of course.
I don't really know what's going on tonight, and I usually just keep to myself, you know. But you know, summons as they are, if you hear them, if you get them, you come, right? That's what they told me. So I'm here.
It's good to have a measure of your character, sir. And she continues just like smiling gallantly.
So, the large bouncers are starting to sort of mention now that you should start to head down the tunnel.
Darlings, of course. And with a dramatic gesture, Julianna flounces through whatever barrier into the tunnel.
So,
Oh dear
What you-
lord.
what you've got is the utilitarian tiles of Oxford Street Circus Station giving way about 10 to 15 feet down this corridor to beautiful panelled oak walls. And the lighting has now gone from the electric lighting of sort of a train station to torch sconces. Beautiful plush red carpet, a marble floor, and there is a grill in the wall about just before the oak paneling starts. And as you approach, you can see two hands just twisting the grill and opening up. And if he would like to introduce himself as he slides out of the side tunnel.
So you all see a very disgusting looking figure coming from the grill. He looks like a bum, only then bandaged up. He smells of urine and, well, other offals. It's just horrible, the smell that emanates from the figure. In the dark behind him, you see little red eyes and you hear squeaking noises. His face is all bandaged up and he constantly scratches himself. And he says, "Why did poor Vernon need to come to this meeting? I am so totally not equipped for this. Oh, hello, y'all. How are you doing?
So Julianna steps as far away as she can from this figure and pulls out a scented handkerchief, which she shakes and puts up to her nose.
I actually step forward. If you accept my hand, I'll shake it and say, "Good evening, good sir. Good to see you. I see, Mother, you were in touch with Mother Earth as well."
He extends his own hand, bandaged and all bloodied up, and he takes your hand and you feel a squishy, soft hand, just barely able to squeeze you, and he says, "Pleased to meet you. I am Vernon Rottmeyer."
Dan Elliott, it's nice to meet you.
Oh, Mr. Elliot, you are one of the most pleasant people of your kind I've met so far.
Oh, that's, thank you very much, sir. I just, be kind, keep an open mind.
That's what I always said. Yes, be kind to people. It's not what every vampire takes to eat. They always need information from Paul Vernon, but they're always so mean to me.
I can't see why, to be honest.
Ask Dr. Victor over there. I point to Victor.
Or just between you and me, I think you're a lot more nicer than the doctor over there.
Yeah, Victor
Everyone can hear this.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hide it.
Except Victor is definitely not looking or listening to them. He's just like scratching and looking around. Like, can we get going?
Okay, yeah, we can get going. I have nowhere better to go. As soon as I can go back to the sewers, the better, eh?
I couldn't agree more.
Yes. Well, lead the way.
Yeah, he's gonna lead the way with a breadth of space between them.
I think Julianna's probably gonna take up the rear then with a breath of space between them.
Okay. So, as you walk down the corridor, it's much of the same oak paneling, beautiful marble floor, torch sconces, and you are finally met with a beautiful panelled oak door, relief carved with sort of scenes of medieval torture, with a large brass knocker right in the centre.
Well,
Just a moment. Chat is pointing out that Eric is a little quiet.
Oh.
So, in
Let
case you
me
guys are
just-
missing that.
can you talk a bit louder, sir?
I would talk very loudly from now on.
I put up the volume as well a bit, so that might help.
Well, I don't know who this chat is, but I hope he can hear me very clearly now.
Also, don't worry too much about it. We can fix it in post.
Are you serious? You don't know Chat Fenwick?
Chat Fenwick?
Sorry,
no, I
who?
never heard of the blog.
Nosferatu, I swear.
You hear like the giggle that sounds like a songbird coming from the back of the group.
Jeez,
Well, aren't you going to knock?
Yes, I was just giving time for our...
Admiring the decor, of course. Yes, understood.
Yes. Gonna use the brass knocker.
Okay, so you hear one loud clang that seems to echo and reverberate through not only your side of the corridor, but also down into the depths. And the door opens with a very satisfying squeak.
Ooh.
Sitting on the other side of the door.
Can Julianna try to pitch match the squeak?
Yes.
You hear like the same noise coming from where she is.
So the door opens to reveal a very small room with a very large desk in it. And sitting behind this desk is a very neat, very well trimmed, very proper young man who kind of looks like a banker, to be honest with you. You wouldn't be out of place in a sort of sat in a merchant bank in the center of the city, which kind of belies the sound of the knocker for the smallness of this room. You also notice that he is sat at a desk, and there is nowhere else to sit.
That's fine by me. I just hung down and cross my legs and sit on the floor.
I will sit right beside you.
I'll stand, thank you.
I'm quite exhausted, sir. Do you mind if I rest my hip? And Julianna tries to get a sense as to whether or not she might be able to prop herself up on a corner of the desk.
He's not going to stop you, but he's going to look quite perturbed by you approaching his desk.
Well, that was the question, because she has fairly high social skills. And so if she recognizes that he seems perturbed, rather than actually doing it, she's going to say, "Oh, I see."
Well, how about we do our first roll of the evening?
Oh, sure.
How about that?
That sounds great.
Congratulations, first time on the stream here and first roll.
So,
Okay.
The coveted
don't we
first
make
roll
that-
of the evening.
why don't we make that a charisma and insight check?
Charisma and insight.
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably quite straightforward, so I will say to you that be 2 successes that are required. Everyone starts with 1 hunger. So would you like to
Okay.
put 1 hunger dice in there as well, please?
Yep. And
Yeah.
that replaces one of my regular
That
dice,
replaces
correct?
one of your
Correct.
dice. Correct.
I have a 10 and a 7 as successes, and my hunger dice is not one of them. It failed.
Okay, so you are able to determine that he is pretty perturbed by your advances, shall we say.
Then
Luckily,
she kindly goes, "Ah, I see," and chooses to stop wherever she is and just kind of like pose stand, taking her parasol and like putting it on the floor with like a slight lean onto the handle.
Well, I think unfortunately that puts you right above Vernon
That's
as
fine.
you've tried to sort of walk in. So, yes,
Yeah.
you may
Down
require
there
your
next to
you
me.
may require your handkerchief.
Oh, I do. It's not moving for a little while.
So, the man behind the desk leans forward in a very businesslike way and says, "Now, my lady and gentlemen, you'll be wondering why you have been brought here before me. I am the Duke of London, Prince of the Camarilla for London."
well, nice to meet you, sir. My name is Dan Elliott. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I would be mighty curious to know what you want of us.
So, as you are probably aware, there is to be a New Year's celebration at the National Gallery tomorrow night. 2 nights ago, we had a very disturbing incident. One of the ambassadors was poisoned by tainted blood. Now, last night, we sent out one of our oldest and most distinguished agents to a suspect establishment to try and determine the root cause of this poisoning. She never returned. So we have but one evening to try to determine what has happened to our ambassador friend, or there will probably be consequences. Now, I have summoned you all because I wanted to show as much international cooperation and clan cooperation as possible. So I have sent out messages to all of you. I appreciate that not all of you will know each other, or possibly even have ever come across each other before, but this needs to be investigated swiftly before the end of this night.
All right, well, any
I
chance?
imagine. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, I imagine that doing you this favor will yield your support in our future endeavors.
Rest assured, my good doctor, should you be successful in this endeavor, we will certainly be extending the Camarilla's protection over whatever endeavors that you will be seeking to make in the forthcoming future, especially in our beautiful city of London.
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping to hear. You have my full cooperation, of course.
Thank you.
Well, as a firm believer of coexistence and being kind to your neighbors and all that, I'm very thankful for this opportunity to help out the Camarilla, who's, of course, it's kept humans and vampires and everything nice and safe this entire time.
Excellent.
Yes, my clan has sent me to participate in this, so I will naturally join.
Dankeschön.
Juliana sweeps a dramatic curtsy at this point, now that everyone else has chimed in, and says, "Oh, it would be beyond me to refuse such an important request from such an important person. Naturally, I will do all that I can to aid the efforts." And, flutters her eyelashes in general at everything.
And he is completely oblivious to these entire proceedings and just nods curtly.
Yeah, okay.
So, I believe you'll want to know what establishment that you'll need to go and search out for us.
Yes, that would be handy.
So, it is the Blood Bank, 2 streets over, and it is called the National Blood Bank.
Oh, very original name.
Very convenient.
We like to do things properly in London and just say things as they are. Now, it is a 24-hour blood bank, and I must warn you, a lot of the people inside do not know that this is an establishment run by the Bruyere clan. So,
Rias. Gosh. Seems
You
I'm surrounded by these types these days.
well, you are not to do anything untoward that may well break the masquerade, especially this close to a celebration with so many vampires currently residing in London.
Assuming that we find them in breach of the masquerade, do we have the Camarilla's authority to deal with them?
Should they be in any breach of the masquerade, you will have my full support.
Good to know.
Wait, to teach them the ways of the Camarilla, right? That's what you mean, right? As in,
Yes,
deal with them.
that is exactly what I mean.
I will
Right.
leave that to your better judgment.
Just the look in your eyes made me worried for a bit, you know.
Oh, no need to worry. These sort of misunderstandings will be dealt with in the most appropriate manner.
All right.
With that, he points to the door and says, "Don't let me detain you. You have much work to do."
Is there anything else you can tell us about who went missing, what we're looking for specifically,
So,
where we might find their innermost secrets?
He fed from the
That's-
blood from the blood bank then, I presume, yeah?
the person that went missing was Florence Foster Jenkins, a very old and ancient vampire. One of the eldest of us, in fact. And it is disconcerting that one so powerful has gone missing while investigating this. This is why I have turned to send 4 vampires this time, and from different clans and different areas. They may well have more luck.
All right.
Well, let's go then. No time to waste.
Yeah, sooner I can
when-
return to my yoga classes, you know.
When the missing person was named, Juliana actually turns in place with like a full swish of her skirt and leaves the room.
I'm assuming we get more
She's
information.
waiting outside.
Yeah, I'm assuming we get more information once we reach the blood bank. Is that right?
You will need to investigate the blood bank
Sure.
and try to find out how blood may have been tainted.
Sure. Will people be expecting us? Is what I'm asking.
No.
Ah, so it's sort of an undercover affair.
We managed to trace their feeding habits of the ambassador to this one establishment. And therefore, we are fairly confident it is responsible for his downfall. But as you can imagine, the true death of a high-ranking ambassador is a very delicate and sensitive matter.
Most certainly is, yeah. So we must blend in the crowd.
Easier for
And-
some than others.
He kind of looks at you and nods, and then seems a little bit puzzled by what's just happened.
Oh, that was just me. Sorry, I pissed myself. It happens sometimes. I have a weak bladder.
Well, I know just the remedy for that. If you just stop by on Fridays, I teach my weekly Wiccan classes, and I can teach you some rituals that might help you with your bladder infection.
Oh, some bladder rituals. Yeah, I would be very grateful to do that.
All right.
Okay?
You're
Well,
most
well,
welcome,
let's
sir.
do I will join you on Friday then.
So we're heading out then.
Yes, I think we've discovered all we can for now. We're
All
going to
right.
have to be careful, though. If an elder was removed from the equation so easily, as
Yeah.
distasteful as it is, we'll have to watch each other's backs.
Sorry, distasteful.
I think he means the lady. I don't know what he has against her, but
He seems
Oh, you
that-
know, just all this inter-clan mingling. It's a little bit much, don't you
All
think?
right. I get it. You don't like mingling with your kindred of other clans. That's fine. Let's just get this over with then, and everyone can go about their own business. That sound like a good idea to you?
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Well, glad we finally agree on something. Namaste, my friend.
I think you should come, actually.
Yeah, I am. Let's go. And I follow behind.
Yeah, we come out to see what, Julianna?
Julianna is standing next to the door, looking perfectly normal, fanning herself slightly with her handkerchief, and says, "You know, I can still hear everything that you say inside."
Oh, I have
I
no
agree.
problem with your clan if you're referring to me. Some of the other ones.
Really, one can't be so picky these days.
Oh, well,
Every
you
clan
can when
has
you...
something wonderful to offer.
They have their uses.
You have your words, and I have mine, sir. And I thank you to think that the elder that went missing really was one of particular power, so I think we'll need to do a little more than watch each other's backs.
By the great words of the poet John Lennon, let there be peace, man. You know, accept it in your hearts. Come in for a hug. Come in for a hug.
Vernon
With
directly hugs you. He
Come
approaches
on.
you and hugs you
Come
coolly.
on.
Yeah.
which side is Vernon hugging him from? Like, is it a behind, a beside?
No,
directly in
fully
front?
frontal. He just embraced.
I'm a tall, lanky man. There's room for everyone. Bring it
So
in.
Julianna,
Bring
like,
it in.
gently sidesteps
Let's
so as to not touch Vernon.
let
With a trilling operatic note of laughter, she, like, encircles your shoulder with one arm and pats you gently on the opposing shoulder and then backs away.
all right. Let our spirits be joined tonight.
At the first mention of the word hug, Garnet turns on a heel and is just leaving.
I think we are going to have to catch up to that one, gentlemen.
Well, let our spirits be entwined tonight, and the Earth Mother watch us. Let's get this over with.
Oh, this is the first time in 100 years that anybody has voluntarily hugged Vernon. It's so nice. Don't ever want to let go. But we must continue the journey.
You should come to Burning Man with me once.
Okay.
Juliana's face looks like it's definitely frozen in its expression, but it is smiling a little bit. And she just goes, "Oh, you seem to have had such a difficult time, sir. I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Have you tried bathing?"
I bathe every day, pardon you. The sewers are full of water.
Oh, I see. Indeed. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind, and she sort of gestures for them to go first.
So as you turn to walk down the corridor, you find that there is a man of indeterminate age. He could be 25, he could be 50. Very neatly dressed again, crisp suit, black hair slicked back, quite pale, standing there with a briefcase. And he nods and says, so I believe you have been briefed by his dukeship? Yes?
Yes, we have been well informed.
You hear a tittering operatic laugh again.
Excellent. And he flips his briefcase up, clips open, and hands you a large packet of papers. Says, that is the schematic plans of the building, and there is also some generic background information there about the nature of the work that goes on there, and anything that we deemed necessary for you to know is right there in your docket packet. I'm sure his dukeship was very clear to mention that we'd like to take this as quietly as possible. And there is actually a room just off to the side here, and he presses a random oak panel, and it slides across. And there is a room beyond with some beautiful chairs, a very nice table, and two serving boys of about sort of 15, 16, stood in loincloths without any serving apparatus, but with suspiciously exposed wrists stood at the side. I was told to make sure that you had everything you might need for deciding how you're going to attempt the to find out what happened to her ladyship. Please make use of this room, and whenever you're ready, a car will come round and take you directly to wherever you would like to go.
Okay, don't mind if we do.
I'm not hungry.
Ladies first?
That's very, very kind of you, actually. I'd much rather partake in a few minutes, perhaps. You do go ahead, please. And she sort of gestures, and she seems to be watching the gentleman with the briefcase, as opposed to paying attention to the room. yet.
Okay. Victor is going to take the schematics and lay them out. Take a look at the building.
Okay, so it is a 4-story building with a grand lobby entrance hall. It is been recently redeveloped, and so the plans are actually very, very new. The ground floor has a couple of elevators, but they seem to only go down. And a staircase leading both up and down. A couple of rooms off to one side. A very nice waiting area and a reception desk. And then the other floors seem to be mysteriously blank. They're just outlines.
Is the sewer anywhere connected to this building?
So you are able to determine that there is a medium-sized sewer line that runs sort of beneath the main lobby, and would sort of enable you to access the staircase, should you so wish, with
Well.
a little bit of forcing.
I hope you don't mind getting your feet wet then.
Oh, my feet are always wet.
I am not crawling through the sewers.
There's nothing wrong with the sewers. But I can crawl through the sewers and open the door from inside if you want to. If you really find it so disgusting, Dr. Victor.
So it is a 24-hour blood bank.
We should simply be able to walk in if we can determine under what guise. Perhaps depending, it still might be better for you to go through the sewers specifically, especially if you're more comfortable there. Maybe we should all chat over a meal, shall we?
And as you say that, one of the serving boys immediately steps forward and lies down on the table and puts both of his arms out to either side.
You go ahead. He's not quite yet suitable for my tastes.
And the other boy steps forward?
No.
Okay, and he steps back.
Yeah, I prefer German tourists. They always taste of the mother country, but this will do fine. I am not complaining. And I bite one of the boys.
He puts up no resistance.
So, especially as this is kind of happening, Julianna wants to lean a little bit closer to the gentleman with the briefcase and ask, rather in a quieter voice than anything she's used thus far for anything, she sort of gently asks, "Were you well acquainted with her ladyship?"
I think you'll find that many vampires in the city are well acquainted with her ladyship. She is the oldest of us by far.
I see. Just to clarify, that is the one who is missing, or is this a different ladyship?
Yes, that is her.
Do you
Florence
have
Foster Jenkins.
Yes, thank you, I'm aware. Do you have much hope for our recovery of her?
I'd like to think we'd at least find her body.
Oh, thank you. And she sort of, like, forgetting anything she said up to this point, she sort of flounces into the side room with the chairs, just sort of sinks into one of them, and then looks at the boy, not on the table, but at the other boy, and goes, "Darling, come here for a moment, please."
Straight over.
What's your name, precious?
Johann.
Johann, how very delightful to make your acquaintance. I beg your pardon if I might be so bold. And she wants to whisper something in his ear.
Okay.
So she kind of like gestures him down in a very non-threatening way. No fangs
before-
present yet.
Before you whisper,
Mhm.
if you are going to whisper something, does anyone want to listen in to see if they can hear what she's going to say?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
The yoga man is a gentleman. This is what we're learning.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
I think then
Let
it's
it
probably
be.
going to
Be
be
and let be.
intelligence and awareness, please, if you're going to try and...
Do I have anything that I could be doing to try and disguise this?
I think as an
Or
opera
anything
singer,
other than whisper?
I think as an
Sure.
opera singer,
I have full vocal control at every register, I assure you.
I think you're going to do this perfectly. It's whether or not they're able to pick it up.
Sure.
And
That
it's,
sounds fabulous.
it's one blood dice, right?
Yes, unless you have just fed. Oh, no, even if you just fed. So yes, still one blood dice.
I have 1 success.
Oh, I have 3 successes.
Ooh.
Okay,
Very
so I think that Vernon is going to hear everything.
Sure.
And I think that Dr. Victor is maybe going to catch the odd word or two.
It's a
Okay.
very short sentence. So,
Okay.
So when the boy leans down to her, she very quietly says in like the softest tone, she says, "Do you mind terribly if I take a little nip out of you?"
He sort of leans directly away.
Okay, so she's actually going to like trail down his shoulder to his arm, preferring the wrist to the neck in this instance. But she is going to take his wrist and drink.
So would you like to know what else is in the papers?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Gladly.
Okay. There is also amongst the plans and the there is some background information on the Bruyere chemist, who is the lead of the establishment, Dr. Emmeline Sushmilch. She's over 1,000 years old and a very, very well-respected biochemist, having been basically there at the invention of biochemistry
Yeah.
and continued ever since. She is attempting to create the first synthetically mass-produced blood that any vampire can feed on, therefore removing the need to ever feed on humans again.
That is appalling. It need to be stopped. Oh, sorry.
Well, I believe the idea is actually it's a great one. You know, I don't mind feeding off people. I think what we're doing is actually quite more humane than humans do with their chickens and cows and stuff. You know, I was a vegan before I became a vampire, but we're just I mean we're just yeah, I'm trying to be I was trying to transition into freaking vegan before I got to turn, but it's a story for another time. Anyway, I mean, we're just feeding off people. We're not killing anyone. It's just nature sharing, you know? Sharing is caring after all. But, so I never minded it. But I know some friends that really don't like that they had to rely on human blood. So I think this might actually be very nice.
I'm actually working on something very similar myself.
You are?
I run a blood bank and a clinic in New York, you see, and we've managed to control a large portion of the blood trade, but only a small percentage of our kindred can partake without horrible side effects, you see.
Well, take
So
my
I-
hand, man. I just want to congratulate you on the awesome work that you're doing.
Yeah, okay. And he'll shake his hand.
All right. I shake my
at this
hand,
point-
and you feel that I am rubbing my thumb on the back of your hand for just a second.
So
Is
at
there
this
like
point,
an insight though? Hold on, I need to know.
I thought I was this disgusting one. What?
Yeah, I want to read whatever the heck that was.
Just a handshake.
No, there is insight. Okay, can I roll insight on him?
You certainly can. So I think your pool again will be charisma and insight to see if you can determine what the social.
Can I roll anything to sort of?
is this a contested check?
Yeah, is this contested?
I think it probably should be. So I think we'll go contested check, and we'll go charisma and insight for the good doctor. And I think that Mr. Elliot will be using a dexterity and subterfuge roll, please. Two things I'm sure you're brilliant at.
Well,
Please
Can I-
remember that
I
you are
think if
both.
you have nothing,
can
you
I make
get
it?
one die.
Can I make it? Can I make it athletics and and occult?
I'll let you use dexterity in occult,
All right, I'll take that.
if that's what you so choose.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Please remember to roll it to supplant a hunger dice.
Yeah, yeah,
Even though you
I
have
am.
said you are still hungry.
Yeah. I'm also taking an extra die for that. That'll be 5 successes.
5 successes for me as well.
Ah. Well, I'll
Any
just say
bestial successes? Any messy criticals?
no. I had one critical, but
Okay.
I had one critical as well. Wasn't
it
my
doesn't
die.
doesn't really count. Then it needs to be 2
Okay.
criticals for it to be an actual critical.
So I
Nothing.
believe
So, do contests go to the to the challenger, or how does that work?
I
Well, I can just add what I like, add some information
That
would
would help.
make it easier. So you feel my thumb rub on the back of your hand, and when you look over, you just see the tiny smear of blood on the back of your hand.
Ooh. Do I recognize this? Because I think now, as a player, I understand what's going on. But would I recognize this as?
I think you've been around long enough to know what that means.
Are you trying to use your magic on me?
Just no, I'm not. But it was an accident. I'm sorry.
I don't like being toyed with.
I just want to make it out, survive this evening. If one of those elders is missing, then pretty sure the trouble is around. I saw a chance and I took it. I'm sorry for that. It's just, reassurance, protection for all of us. You know what we were able to do.
No more touching without consent.
Yes. Sorry about that. Well, I did ask if you wanted to shake my hand.
You didn't
In
ask me
friendship.
if you could use magic on me.
I'm not using magic on you, but that's a discussion for later. Terribly sorry.
So at this point, Julianna has long finished feeding, and she takes a separate handkerchief out of a different dress pocket that has some minor blood staining on it, and just pats her lips very gently and tucks it away again. And then stands up and says, "Well, I feel much refreshed. I'm sorry, I think there was something happening. My apologies, gentlemen. What are we going to do?"
Well, we just learned that our friend, the Dr. Victor here, is CEO, how you call it? I don't know how the kids call it these
a
days.
banker, darling.
The boss of a
Right.
blood bank in New York. So I'm guessing that he knows all the ins and outs of any blood bank and can get us in and out in no time.
I think it's possible for me to get us in, at least 3 of us. The other may raise too much suspicion.
I might come in through the sewers, if that is at all possible. I can pause as one of your patients. Oh no, sorry, it's a blood bank.
Yes, if this were my clinic, we would have opportunity for that, but unfortunately, this is just a blood bank, and it would be weird of a foreign doctor coming in with a patient to a blood bank.
Yeah, that's good.
But if you're willing to take your sewer route in, then we can meet you inside.
I prefer the sewer route. It's much more comfortable.
All right, it's agreed then. You
Right.
take the sewer route, and then we'll take the upstairs route, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle, you know?
Okay, let's do that.
Doctor, what do you think might be their process if this is not known to be what it is? Have you any suspicions about how we might get in touch with the right people to be having the correct conversations?
These unmarked floors, you see, this is most likely something that was kept off the books. There is likely some sort of elaborate lab she has set up down there. She's been at this for quite some time. Rather slow progress, I must say. I've been in the game only 30 years and already nipping at her heels.
So you got some friendly competition going on. It's
Yes, except I
Something.
don't murder elders in the process.
I would let's kindly not make too many assumptions about what might have happened. Yes. Perhaps we should start with figuring out how we could speak to this delightful other doctor.
Wait, are you suspecting? Are you suspecting the biochemist to kill the elder?
Her or one of her minions, yes.
Oh, well, what we?
All right,
I'm-
interesting
oh,
take
I'm
on the
sorry.
story.
Perhaps I misunderstood what the Duke said. Did he not say that the elder was sent after the one against whom they held suspicion? Did he volunteer at some point who that was while I wasn't listening?
I think they just traced back the blood that the good ambassador was feeding on to this particular blood bank.
Of course, yes. And so really we know much less than we'd like.
If we know the source is the blood bank, then we can suspect whomever is in control of said blood bank.
Naturally.
Well, I'll
I
just
guess
leave
I
that up to
suspect.
you.
We can talk our way in and get our way down to these more secretive floors, then I think we'll find what we need. I would like to take a slight detour if you don't mind, though.
What are you thinking?
I'm rather hungry as well, and well,
You
these are
guys
just
go
not-
to a meeting without properly feed yourselves before that meeting?
It was a long flight over the ocean, my friend.
All right. I mean, I've taken that flight. I know what you mean. What do you prefer then?
There's a lot of nice-looking clubs around here. A lot of young, attractive people in their prime.
Oh, it's long. It's been long since I was in a club. If you'd have me, I would like to join you.
Perfect.
You can't ask if they have better fare more to your liking here?
I think it's best if we go to one of these clubs.
Oh, indeed. Is there anything you would like me to be doing in the meantime, then?
I'm not sure. It shouldn't take long, really.
To be fair, we didn't get a lot of information. You could try and figure out more, or we can just get in a cab and get over to a club, get the good doctor here fed, and then move on our way.
Taxi cab? Oh
So
my.
you've already been told that a car will be provided for you.
Yes. But this street was where we saw the clubs, right? Like the
You are in the center of Soho district.
Yeah.
Everything is.
Right.
Everything's here.
Yes.
Everything's
Okay. So then, why don't you just secure our car, and I'll be there shortly.
Yes, that sounds like a delightful.
I will go with you. We will secure a car together. That would be great.
She pauses for a moment and then goes, "Yes, of course. Very great."
Oh, that won't be a problem. Let's go. Let's go secure a car. We might even sit together in the car. And then the doctor and the yoga man can join us later.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Do in fact, and she will proceed with him down the tunnel if he's willing to go, but she'll be 3 feet away from him, with her powdered handkerchief or her scented handkerchief up, saying and tell me something about yourself. You're from where again?
Where? You mean from the soul? Or you mean my home country?
That one, yes. I could quite tell that you certainly make your home. Yes, but I rather meant which city has your preferred sewer system?
Oh, London. I live here now for, I think, 30 years, yes. When I fled from Mainzelhof in Germany, I went to London straight away, and I lived here for 30 years now. It's a great city. Yeah. Lots of opportunity for young vampires like me.
Rather, indeed. Well,
I can show you the city, only from beneath the city. I don't go on top very much.
you know what? That's all right. I actually get quite a lot of work in London on a very regular basis, and I'm familiar with most of it, though likely in a very different way from you.
So you can show me the city. We do a tourist tour before the doctor is ready and finished with the blood. Oh, yes, that would be amazing.
Well, if we
Let's
sit
do
in the
that.
car,
Yes.
I can point things out.
Yes, let's do
She,
that. Oh, that sounds like an awesome plan. And then the doctor can feed and they join up later. Oh, this is such an amazing plan.
So they lead you. You're led away by the clerk towards the car, and I believe the other two are going to try and find a club somewhere nearby.
Yes. So I assume we have modern technology. I'd have a cell phone.
Certainly. You've also got the bouncers who are at the head of the doors.
Yes. Why don't I work with them then for now? Yes, I'm gonna go to the bouncers and ask them about where I might find my particular tastes in the nearby clubs.
So they both look at each other, and they look back at you, and they say, "Well, you could go and pay club prices for it, or you could just go directly to the source, if you know what I mean." And they kind of look around as though looking for to make sure nobody's really paying attention. And he leans down and says, "Just go to the National Blood Bank and ask for Mr. Jones." And he stands back up and nods.
And if I need Mr. Jones to be a little more upbeat than usual, is that an option at the blood bank?
Mr. Jones will provide.
Well then,
and goes back to staring.
I guess the detour is unnecessary after all.
Oh, that's a damn shame. I was looking forward to seeing some party, you know. But
Well, once we find what we need to find, perhaps there will be cause for celebration.
all right. As the great Crosby, Stills, and Nash once said, "We are starlight, we're golden. Let's go."
Quoting is beautiful, honestly.
Definitely true. So, I assume you're then all going to go to the car.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are waiting with the car, right? Yeah, so
Okay.
we can send
As
that-
the other two approach, you hear Julianna say, like, a little bit in a high pitch, like, "Oh dear, it looks as though our plans might have to wait. They're done very quickly."
Oh, that's a shame. I had so many things to talk about. Do you want a skin flake in the meantime? I always collect these. My face is so scabby underneath this and it itches like all the time. So if you want a skin flake, just ask me. It's a nice snack in the meantime.
I'll be sure to, sir. Have you thought about getting a cream or something?
So, I assume the other guys at this point enter the car, and the
Yeah.
car will start driving. It is, honestly, getting a car is really not necessary. It is a 5-minute drive around the corner. It probably takes
Julianna
longer
looks as though
in
it
the car.
was totally necessary. This is the only way to travel. Walking. My gosh.
So, the building that you've been dropped outside of is somewhat unique in the area. You have tall, modern, glass-fronted skyscrapers surrounding the area, and this small building seems to have been here forever. It is limestone fronted, beautifully carved with some very ornate architraves over the top, and is only 3 stories high. So far smaller. But the recent renovation work has been to sort of bring it up into the modern age. And so it now has very nice smoked glass facade, twin doors leading in, and 2 very large, I suppose we'll call them bouncers, who look strangely similar to the 2 bouncers that were stood outside of the train station. It seems that they came as a
my favorite.
a job lot packet. I think they got them all as a one set. And there's a sort of very nice sort of backlit sign that says the First National Blood Bank.
Ah, well, here we are then. I would like to approach the bouncers.
So they do the wonderful universal bouncer etiquette, which is to look you up and down.
Julianna, like, poses while they do that.
Nod, and move to open the door. Specifically mentioning that you should go to the left-hand door.
Thank you,
Thank you
kindly,
very
good
much.
sirs.
Like, are all of my companions as welcome?
Oh yes, sir.
Well, you thought he was just talking to you. Indeed.
I exited the other side of the car. Vernon exited the other side of the car, and he went into the sewers. So he's
Okay.
We are so
Fair enough.
grateful, Vernon. You're fantastic. We don't have to explain this.
Vernon,
Oh my gosh.
you're
Still
Vernon.
finding skin plates.
you're a beautiful person, man. Just gotta say,
Absolutely.
you know.
Would Mr. Elliot be at all opposed to giving me some assistance? And Julianna actually like sees if he'll like take her arm in that like classic, not really helping her walk because she
Ma'am?
doesn't need it.
And I'll offer you my arm.
Such southern courtesy.
Of course. I was born and raised.
So, stepping through the door, you find yourself in a beautiful foyer with plush red carpets, a very large fountain. But interestingly, to your right, there seems to have been a partition made. So the right-hand door would sort of lead down a corridor, all of its own. But you're standing in a very, very well-apportioned room, white marble, and you can see across the fountain directly to a large reception desk and 2 elevators behind it. Down the left-hand wall seem to be a number of very well-designed booths with a chaise-longue and just sort of a very discreet plush velvet curtain that can be drawn across. Some of the booths are open, some of them the curtain is very firmly drawn across.
You got any of those in your blood bank, Victor?
Well, we try not to be quite so obvious about things. See,
But I would think that a lot of that is assisted in having the just to clarify, narrator, when they opened the doors, we didn't really see clearly that it would go to 2 different places until we came in.
Not until you came in because of the smoke
Perfect.
glass.
Yeah. So Julianna continues with, well, to be fair, I think some of that is assisted well enough with what they've done with their entrance.
well, yes, but suppose a health inspector were to stop by?
So as you're talking, a beautiful human female is being led right across the front of the reception in front of you. And she seems to be staggering slightly, not just because of the high heels that she's wearing. She seems to be finding it quite difficult to walk. And she is led into one of the drawn curtain, and you don't quite see who's inside. But then the receptionist turns and returns to the desk and mentions you to please step forward.
Yeah, Dr. Garnett's going to go straight up to her. Excuse me, my dear, I'm looking for Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones?
Yes,
Ah, are you friends of the head of the bank?
that is correct.
Julianna curtsies a little bit behind him.
So would you like to give me some sort of persuasion roll? I'm thinking along the lines of manipulation and possibly persuasion.
Okay.
To work.
So that's quite a lot of dice for me.
Oh, good.
Okay, we've got 3 criticals and 2 additional successes.
Wow.
Any of
Always
them
roll
hunger?
those dice.
Would any of them happen to be the hunger dice? On
The hunger
criticals?
dice was a success.
Oh.
Wasn't
But
one
not
of
a
the
critical.
criticals. No.
Ah,
So,
that would have been great.
Oh, this
A
would have not been great timing
critical
for it.
success. So I think at the sight of the beautiful lady being led in a slightly intoxicated state, you are salivating.
Oof.
I'm going to add, despite the fact that it's a critical success, 1 point of hunger.
Okay.
But you have absolutely entranced this receptionist. And she, of course, how could I not recognize you? And in such esteemed company, my lady, everybody in London knows your exquisite voice. And immediately picks up the telephone, and she kind of looks towards Dan and says, "And I assume this is your bodyguard?
That is correct, yes.
Bodyguard?
And starts and
you never heard of the great Dan Elliott?
Darling. we are
Yes,
in
you're
London.
very talented at your job.
I'm quite famous in the Regent Park area, if you like to know, but alright.
Julianna's just preening under the attention and just kind of lets all that slide.
Yeah, to each their own, I guess, right?
It certainly is a matter of preference, darling. And I prefer you the way you are.
The left-hand elevator behind the reception opens, and out steps a very young, blonde-haired, quite charismatic man in a doctor's coat, but without any badge and without any just. And he sort of looks around, and the receptionist kind of does the. And Mr. Emmett Jones steps forward. Says, hello, I am Mr. Emmett Jones. I believe you've been sent here to see me personally.
That is correct. I was told that you had exactly what I need.
Ah, right. So I'm led to assume then that you'll be wanting the VIP experience.
Yes.
Anything
Wonderful.
less, really.
So, may I please have your names? And he pulls out a clipboard, seemingly from nowhere. May I please have your names?
Dr. Victor Garnett, you may have heard of me. I practically run the blood trade in New York.
And he kind of looks at you, and he says, of course, Dr. Garnett. I had heard that you were in London. Definitely the VIP treatment then. And he sort of looks towards Julianna.
She, still anchored in Mr. Elliot's arms, sweeps a little side curtsy and goes, "Oh, Ms. Foster, Julianna Foster. I'm sure you've heard of me."
Okay. Julianna Foster.
It doesn't bother her at all if he doesn't seem to have heard of her. She's fluttering her eyelashes at the receptionist.
And you, my good. Sir?
You can call me Dan Elliott. Pleasure to meet you, good sir.
And Dan Elliott, okay. It's a lovely name, Dan. It's a beautiful name.
Oh, wait,
Right, if you
sorry,
look
were we supposed to mention titles or anything?
It's not necessary,
Don't
sir.
worry about
Only
it.
if you have them.
Don't worry about it.
Right, if you'd like to follow me to the VIP room, then please. And he escorts you towards a room that you hadn't quite noticed before, sort of tucked away to the back right-hand side. Very plush, very nice, with three shay long, a nice table, a little drinks cabinet in the corner. And he says, "Now, are we expecting anybody else in your party, sir, or is this it?"
This is it for now. Though,
Okay.
if things go well, I may bring back more.
Right, not a problem, sir. So I'm going to head down to the proper blood bank. And what would be sir's poison of choice?
Be someone young, vibrant, attractive, fit, in their prime, really. And then he looks at the others. Perhaps I could speak privately.
Oh, I think everybody who's come to this establishment, sir, knows exactly what you might be after. So the choices, for anybody that is unaware, we have some very nice cocaine that was purchased only yesterday. We do have some heroin, but it's probably a little bit old. And we've also got a lovely supply of alcohol. I personally prefer the alcohol. I think it's probably going to be Welsh whiskey.
Well, I have to admit, I did a bunch of acid and LSD back in the day. You know, Woodstock was story for another time, maybe. It's been long since I had some of that, but I just fed, so I'm good. Thank you very kindly for your offer. I won't be needing any.
And for the lady?
I'm only here for the experience. Nothing else necessary, thank you.
So dinner for one then, is it?
Certainly seems that way.
And would you like anything extra, sir, or just the young, beautiful person?
Fill them up with cocaine, please.
Not a problem, sir. And he disappears. Now, he heads down the stairs rather than the elevator and kind of pauses at the top of the stairs because there seems to be a peculiar smell coming from the drain. It's quite a large drain.
Julianna's like whispering quietly to the doctor at this point, like as soon as the guy's gone, she's like, was it wise not to mention that we had another companion coming up?
It was if he's coming up through the sewers.
To be honest, I don't really think they'd care where it come from. You know, they've been expecting us. Or they haven't been expecting us, but they are helping other kindred, so that's, I mean, they could have told us that when we were meeting with the Duke, is all I'm saying, you know. It would have made things easier.
The doctor is, well, Mr. Emmett Jones is going to be trying to lift the grating.
Okay, Vernon tries to blend in the shadows as much as possible. And he actually has some skills in that.
Okay, would you like to give me some sort of a hiding in the shadows skill?
Okay. So I have a stealth check.
Stealth would be good if you want to put that with.
You could have the power of obfuscate, right?
Yeah, I think I have. Wait a minute. Do I have that? Ah, scheiße. No, I do not have that.
You didn't take any.
Oh, no. Oh, Cloak of Shadows and Silence in Death.
There we go.
Shadows.
That was my first thought, dude.
Yes, Cloak of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
I was hoping you'd be able to tell me. Give me a minute.
With 5 seconds.
Do you know what discipline that's from?
It's from Obfuscate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Obfuscate, Cloak of Shadow. Standing perfectly still, the user blends into the surroundings. As long as they have some kind of cover, make no sound and don't move, only mechanical or supernatural means can detect them. The cost is free. You're just doing it.
Okay.
That's good.
And what else do you have? Unseen Passage, or what did you say in Obfuscate?
Obfuscate and Unseen Passage.
Yeah, with this power, the vampire can now move around while staying hidden. The user functionally invisible per the usual Obfuscate limitations. The cost is 1 rouse check. So, definitely go for the Unseen Passage.
So if you're going for Unseen Passage, you have the ability then to just wander past him because he has opened up the grating. And you will be able to just join your compatriots.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then.
Because he is certainly not supernatural.
Nosferatu have the ability to basically be invisible to anyone and everyone.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
So I move past him and I think, oh.
So you do need to make a rouse check.
Make that rouse check, man. I can hear the beast rattling at the cage.
And again, please remember you are at 1 level of hunger.
Okay. Then let's rouse. How did it work again? So what do I roll for a rouse check? I'm sorry, guys. I just...
Probably a D10 of some description.
Oh, yeah, D10. So rouse check was 1d10, right?
Yes, let's go with 1d10, but also your hunger dice.
Yeah.
1d10, but also my hunger dice.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So that's a 1.
One single die rolled by type. Oh wait, no. Darn it! I thought I found a quick reference to the rouse check, but
I learned the rules this week.
I think it's more about the result. So, like, succeeding or failing an arouse check is more about what happens afterwards,
Yes.
not about whether or not you do it.
Okay.
So, sorry for your one, dude.
So that's a 1.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a 1.
That's a 1. Excellent. So,
I don't like that.
that's a fail,
what's
right?
great about rouse checks is that it doesn't mean that the action cannot be performed. It means the attended you will always be successful. Your hunger will increase by 1.
Great. So hunger plus 1.
Yep. So, what you cannot mask is your smell. So he's just opened the grating and has been hit by a wall of smell.
Yes.
And sort of in the looking away, even though you kind of didn't quite get the rouse correctly, you still pass completely silently and completely unseen. But he's retching and gagging quite a lot.
Can we still see him? Like, not Vernon, but can we still see Dr. Jones?
No, because he's in the stairwell.
sorry.
But so you're now in the stairwell.
Yes. But I have no idea where the others are, so I'll just check room by room and see if I can find them.
Okay. The VIP room is right next to the stairs, so it is literally the first door you'll
Thank
walk
goodness.
into.
We're not interrupting all these other feeding kindred.
So I enter the room and I say, "Oh, I found you. I found this weird person in the hall who was retching. I don't know. I think he ate something bad.
Wait,
Bad humans.
Vernon, are you back in the room? Where are you?
Oh, sorry." And I dropped the mask.
Ah, there you are. Always amazes me how you folk do that.
Yes,
You
it's-
made
It's
it.
a nice bit of magic. If you can ever teach me, that would be great.
Well, it was a very easy journey. I found it quite easily. And the most important thing, I brought snacks for my friends.
I'm fine, thank you, but you're so kind.
I'm fine, as I've said multiple times this evening. I just fed before I went to the meeting, and I feel fine. But thank you kindly
so-
for the offer.
So while this is going on, you hear the elevator ping, and some very heavy footfalls heading towards your room, and the door is opened to reveal not Mr. Emmett Jones, but in fact a sort of 40-year-old looking vampire. And she sort of nods into the room, clicks her heels together, and steps into the room, holds out her hand to Dr. Garnet and says, "Hello, I am Dr. Emmeline Sushmilch. I believe you are the Dr. Victor Garnet doing some interesting work in New York City. Would you be here for a social call, or are you here for something more nefarious?"
He takes her hand and very graciously, like, gives her a half bow. My lady, I'm glad we're finally meeting. I'm a big admirer of your work. In fact, I'm using some of your discoveries myself in trying to accomplish something very similar to the work you've been doing these past few years. I am in the neighborhood because of the upcoming festivities, and I was told by my mentor that this was the place to come for the same kind of services that I provide in New York.
I would never be one to come backwards and being forwards about showing off of my work, especially to one so handsome as you are. Would you like to join me down in the lab?
I would absolutely love that. I was just waiting on a meal, though.
Do not be so troubled by this. There will be plenty to eat down in the laboratory, I assure you.
Oh, all right, then. If we'll be dining down there, then I'm happy to follow. May my companions come as well?
Oh, please, yes, all are welcome in the First National Blood Bank. We are proud of our work. We do not hide it in the corridors or in like some dirty thing. Everything here is for the love of science. So please, everybody, come with me down the elevator, and I will show you the world.
Fine by me.
Julianna actually looks kind of excited and goes, do tell me all about what you've been working on.
And she starts leading you all towards the elevator.
Am I visible to her? So is Vernon visible to her?
Yes, you dropped the facade.
Okay.
Doesn't seem
But
to
she
mind
seems
it.
You literally said you dropped it.
Yeah.
She is
Sorry.
completely hasn't even registered that you would be different from any of the other vampires as far as the good doctor is concerned.
Oh, I
That's
like that.
fantastic. Can I just make a request almost as we're all like heading down into this lab? One of my particular specialties is in the direction like leaning towards awareness, and so I don't quite know how this works, but I don't know if I have to be searching for something specific or something, but due to the nature of why we're here, Julianna kind of has her game face on a little more than she usually would, and she really wants to be paying attention to whomever and whatever they pass under
Excellent.
a guise of curiosity.
Yes.
Somebody's remembered that we're playing a game.
Yes, I think that Elliot. now that it got
Somebody wants to
mentioned,
roll perception.
I think that then Elliot is also quite aware of his surroundings and is also trying to collect as much information as he can just by standing around.
Would you like to make me a wits and investigation roll?
Yes.
Both of us?
Yes, and please remember you are
One
at
hunger.
whatever level of hunger you are.
Yeah. Darn, I was really hoping it would be awareness, but that's okay.
Yeah, we did say awareness, right?
It's fine.
Oh, sorry, wits and awareness. My apologies. Wits and
okay.
awareness.
That's
All right, that's
nice
much
and
better.
generous.
Thank you very much.
I'll just roll a couple
Thank you
X.
for reminding me.
That's fine. I mean, I can definitely just roll something I'm not good at. That's okay.
I have four successes.
4 successes in.
I was only... Oh, wait, no, hold on. I rolled one too few dice still. I have 3 successes, and they're not on my hunger, and none of them are critical.
Excellent. So with 3 successes, as you pass the receptionist desk, now the desk is quite a high counter on one side, and you didn't realise it actually dropped away on the other side and has sort of computer screens and cameras set up, and they can see everything that's going on, including in all of the rooms, actually. So you can see some rather interesting takes on vampiric feeding going on.
Delightful.
But you also notice a mobile telephone sat in a clear plastic bag in the center of the console. And you know exactly whose that phone is.
I know exactly whose that phone is. Okay, sorry. So they have that phone in a clear plastic bag behind reception.
Yes, and Mr. Elliot, you are acutely aware of you got 3 successes, correct?
4.
4 successes, excellent. Where the VIP room is and where the stairs are, there's actually another door leading out, and it's got a glass frame. And you can see a short line of vampires outside of this door, seemingly coming from somewhere. And there is another vampire with a big stack of bags, and he's taking money and handing the bags to each of the vampires and kind of sorting through them. And you see all this as you're sort of going into the elevator.
Right. I see a blood bank selling blood to vampires. Is that right?
But en masse, as in sort of 30 or 40 bags going into a case.
Like more
And
blood
then
than any
it's
sane
off.
vampire would need in a given week.
Most assuredly.
Right. As the elevator doors close and just seem to be selling a lot of blood for a blood bank. I mentioned this to Victor. Now, if you're selling blood to a vampire, how many blood would you sell to any given vampire on an evening?
Well, to an individuals, usually a couple of bags a month. But
So you would all be aware that only certain vampires can feed from blood bank blood. You have to have a certain mutation to be able to do that. So this is an inordinate amount of blood to be selling in bags.
Yeah.
we have
Where
some
most vampires
larger
would have to feed.
sales, but as I've said, most of our kindred cannot partake yet. So she may have had some major breakthrough recently.
So as you're heading down the elevator, she's sort of preparing herself, and she looks up and says, she sort of turns to face you at the front of the elevator, ready for the doors to open. She says, so I get very excited at this moment. I love it when people see the lab for the first time, because it just fills me with joy. So I have been working on this for over 1,000 years now. In one guise or another. Myself and my husband were some of the very first biochemists in the world, and we want to remove this whole feeding thing from the world. It's just so passé and last century, you know. We don't need this in our lives anymore. So the ability to supply just on the blood of the bag. And we are perfectly able these days to synthesize. We're not quite ready for full trials yet, but we are fairly close and fairly certain that most vampires will be able to survive the process
Sorry,
And-
survive the process.
of feeding from the bags. Eventually, we will
Wait,
get to the
feeding
stage where
from this
every-
blood will kill vampires and
Well, not kill per se, but things get very messy, and the door's now open behind her to a beautifully lit laboratory.
It's so light out here.
So, what you can see
she
on your
gets some
right-hand
sunglasses.
side,
I see you're wearing sunglasses. Never mind.
looking directly into the room, on the right-hand side, you can see 3 cages with mortals, wrists out, drained almost to death, blood dripping on the floor. 3 steel tables, beautiful, surgically clean, stand in front of those 3 cages. There is a desk, again very similar to the desk in the reception, with a high counter, and then drops down to a couple of computers and servers behind. And then there are 4 perspex cages with vampires in them, in various sort of states of withdrawal, screaming and clawing at the perspex. And then in the center of the floor, there is a giant hole. And from the bottom of the hole, you can hear a lot of sort of bestial noises, scrabbling at the brickwork, and it is very deep and very dark. And she looks around. She says, welcome to my world."
Ma'am,
Is
before
what
we
we're seeing-
proceed, Victor, as the blood expert, well, I might actually be the blood expert, but as a blood bank expert, please go ahead. I'll wait my turn.
I was just positing that what we're seeing here is most likely the results of it going poorly when they drink the synthetic blood.
Only in the minor number of cases now they have been creating the synthetic blood, and she walks past the mortals and she says, so we've been taking their blood for some time, and when we're finished with them we just throw them in the pit. Something will eat them eventually, and we have been synthesizing the blood for some time, and I think we have got to the stage where we have our own bone marrow process down to a fine art, creating some of the finest synthetic blood in the world. Very, very good for blood transfusions, which is kind of funding my research. And this is all like a complete spiel that she seems to have rehearsed for investors. And she sort of gets to the perspex cages, and there are some youngling vampires, possibly less than 2 weeks, having been turned, all in sort of various stages of sort of withdrawal and horrific. And she says, and these foundlings here, we have been cleaning them to drink the blood, and we're getting some quite good results, especially with this one on the end, who is seemingly less mad than the others, but I think the others are going into pit soon, so don't worry about it too much.
Ma'am, just before we continue, I just have to ask, I'm pretty sure everything is on the up and up in here, but I just have to ask, these humans in the cages, the vampires in the cages, they all written some form of consent, I presume, right?
You'll have to excuse my friend here. He's not familiar with how science progresses these days.
And I also presume that the Duke of London knows about your business here.
Every vampire here knows that this is the best place for the blood.
Well, but do
comes
they
down here very much?
know where the blood's coming from? I mean, you know.
Oh, that all comes from upstairs in the very safe blood bank. This is more for the cutting edge research, which I knew that the good doctor would absolutely want to see, because this is where the real magic happens, you know.
It is rather impressive. I was wondering, how do you keep this synthetic blood from spoiling?
We've come up with a system of bone marrow transplant surgery, where what we do is we take some of these very willing patients here, drain them to within an inch of their life, and then completely take out their bone marrow. The bone marrow then is able to go straight into the bags. We have the ability then to keep, and the blood sort of starts to regenerate itself when mixed with the little few little beautiful chemicals that we have created.
Very interesting. This is something that vampires all over the world should be looking into.
Yes, and, we're making the highest quality blood, and we've never tainted with anything so mundane as some of the drugs that the kids are into nowadays. That would be terrible. This is merely for the good of vampire kind, you know.
Oh, of course, yes. And would I be able to see the technical data by chance?
This is only really for the true scientific minds. As I'm sure you're very good at what you do in the New World of America, but maybe once I publish my research papers, you'll be able to have a look at the data.
I was hoping that I might be able to help you out. You see, I'm a very well-respected phlebotomist and a pharmaceuticalist. I think that we could be a very beneficial partnership for one another. I am absolutely trying to manipulate her stuff.
Would you absolutely like to make a roll to try and manipulate a 1,000-year-old vampire?
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
I would. Hey, this is what he does. So, okay. So
remember that you now have 2 hunger because you still haven't had that food that you were promised at one point.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm pretty sure if you eat anything here, you're gonna die. So.
So would that be like manipulation subterfuge?
Yes, that seems
okay. So that would
acceptable.
Be, okay, and then 2 blood dice. Neat.
Yes.
Let's see. That is 3 successes. One of them's a crit, but it's just the one.
Okay.
So 3 successes.
So, that's not going to be enough to sort of enchant a. But I think you're turning this on very, very strongly.
Right.
So, you are surrounded by bleeding, for want of a better word, corpses. The stench of blood. I think you fail and increase your hunger by 1. And I'm also going to say that you're starting to get a little bit edgy,
Yep, that's fair.
a little bit itchy, perhaps. It's been some time.
Yep.
And she says, well, I can see that you are a man of true scientific merit. How about I show you the blood storage area, and we can talk about the actual chemistry, which is the real beautiful thing about this.
I think that's a fantastic idea. I think we should start with the farm, though, as I am getting a bit peckish. It was a long flight over from the States, you see.
It's the blood storage area, darling. It has a microwave. We can sort you out when we're up there. And starts ushering you into the elevator.
Oh, I'm not quite ready for the synthetic stuff. I am still in need of something fresh.
Oh, well, maybe we can stop off at the lobby on the way and you can have a little snack.
While this conversation is taking place, I'd like to walk by all the cages in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of
Absolutely.
inspect them. And maybe when I get to the human cages, I carefully slice my wrist open with one of my fingernails and rub my blood on the locks of each and every cage.
So,
Dear. Oh dear.
would you like to give me a dexterity and then stealth or subterfuge or some way that you're not going to get detected in doing this?
Is there any way that my insistence on eating now can help him out with this? Because
I'm going to make it easier because you're trying to usher the doctor back into the elevator to get back to whatever you were doing. So yes.
yeah. So he's just kind of like trying to keep her attention. He's like, just if we could just get what Mr. Jones was going to provide for me, I think that would be best.
I guess he is such a wonder to have about. The man can do anything.
I will first roll to see whether I'm successful in hiding whatever I'm doing. Wait, no. Better yet. First, I'm going to roll one rouse check for slicing open my wrist
Okay.
and activating my corrosive vitae.
Ooh, whoa.
That's a
Them vamp
success.
skills.
That's a success.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so no worries there.
No?
I mean, I'm just 4 times as worried. but
You
that's
want me to
don't worry
use
about
dexterity and subterfuge?
Yes, or whatever you deem
Well,
from your character sheet.
athletics would be more up my alley than dexterity. Subterfuge, I have no experience in at all. But
Okay.
I mean, I'm doing some occult stuff, maybe.
Okay. We'll make it a cult. That's fine.
The
that's-
persuasiveness. Can I just roll something I want to, though? Yeah.
Can you blame me?
No.
That's 4 successes.
No
almost,
criticals.
almost. Unfortunately, no criticals. No, just 4 regular successes. Nothing on the blood die.
Okay, so I think we're going to increase your hunger by 1
Oh yes, thank you.
because you're
I was already worried.
yeah, you're sort of actively trying to do this. It is a success. So you're not spotted putting the blood and you have successfully roused your blood. So is there any immediate effect, or are you delaying?
Well, I mean, the corrosive vitae is just batting away at the locks as we make our exit back into the elevator. And whatever happens then. You know?
I do want to stare in the hole where the animal noises are coming from. If that isn't too much trouble.
You can see all the way to the bottom with your particular skill set of living in the sewers. There are...
skills that I'm living this.
Yes, the sewers, they are my specialty.
So, you then have the ability to see quite a lot of body parts, more than you might expect, and 2 or 3 fully bestial young vampires sort of fighting over the remains.
That does look thirsty. But I cannot do anything about this. And they are fighting over food, you say?
Just body parts and viscera.
Okay. I say, hello, fellows? Yeah, have some flakes, and I throw some flakes down. It's for snacking. You can share. Don't fight about food, just share the flakes. Bye now. And he walks away.
Excellent.
So there's a big conversation happening between the doctor and the other doctor, and now they're moving towards the elevator. The yoga dude is like wandering around the room doing sneaky things. Vernon is throwing bits of himself down a hole.
sounds like a Voidcast Top-Down Tabletop one-shot, if you ask me.
I know. I'm so comfortable right now, guys. Anyway, is there any chance that Julianna can be taking advantage of this general activity, this general splitting of the party, to try and subtly get a peek behind this desk and see if she can notice anything?
Yes. I think we're going to go with a similar roll.
Okay.
So I think we're going to be going with exactly what we rolled last time.
Do you want me to be also rolling subterfuge to hide this at all, or am I?
No, I think we've established that Dr. Sushmilk is far too distracted with Victor and showing off her work.
Three successes, none of them on my hunger die.
Okay, that's more than enough to...
satisfied, apparently.
So there is a file which kind of looks out of place in a world of sort of electronics, that looks like it's been sort of pushed towards the back, in amongst all the paperwork, so you wouldn't spot it, but you can see poking out the top of it what appears to be a picture of the roof of the National Gallery.
Okay, so what would you like me to roll to attempt to grab that file and shove it down my skirt, which is large and billowy and could hide something?
What do you have training for other than dexterity that would give you the ability to...
Larceny?
Larceny works. That's literally stealing things. So.
Yes, it is. I know. It's a weird skill to have. You should talk to me about her backstory sometime. So you want me to roll Dex plus Larceny?
And remember your hunger dice.
And remember my hunger dice. Guys, literally, I'm so scared.
Are you gonna do
two
great?
Successes. One of them is a 10, and neither of them are on my hunger.
Excellent.
But only one is a 10, so it's not a full.
You are so eager to get this. I think it sort of gets crumpled up as it gets stuffed inside one of your skirts. But yes,
Somewhere in between my
You definitely
Overskirt and
succeed.
undercourse. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
I just
succeed.
have a crushed pile inside my clothing now. It's great.
Yes. Back to the elevator then, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. So as you're travelling up, the good doctor is sort of saying, have you put in an order with Mr. Jones?
Yes, Mr. Jones was gathering my order when you arrived, and I thought it would be rude not to. Yeah.
Well, as a woman of science, I would love to watch your feed and see what the result is. I mean, I do love to see the reaction in different vampires when they feed on interesting specimens.
Well, that would be fine with me. I'm not sure it'd be quite as interesting as you might think, though. I'm very gentle.
Oh, I'm sure it would be interesting. And as she's saying this, the doors open, and the receptionist has next to her a stunning 24-year-old male who has sort of a wide open shirt, very trim, very good looking, and seems to be slightly sort of shaking and jittering and looking around the room and being quite excited about what's going on.
Ah, well, this seems to be the one. Come with me.
So they need the receptionist, the doctor, and yourself head off towards a side room and leaving the party alone.
Oh, good. You guys are free to do crazy shit.
So,
Oh, yes.
so are there staff or anything in this space, or are we relatively alone?
Relatively alone. There is still the loading going on through the door to your right. You can still see like lots of people sort of loading large quantities of blood into. But it may be fairly simple to.
And I try to steal the phone.
You may certainly try to steal the phone.
I'm trying to steal the phone. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I need this. I need it.
To be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing or what we're even doing here. Weren't we supposed to find a missing vampire? Find some blood? Just seems like we wandered off in all sorts of directions.
This is Dan's first one shot.
As this is happening, the man who was doing all of the loading stops and comes in through the door. So it's going to happen as you're rolling.
Like, as I'm attempting to...
As you're attempting to steal the phone.
Well, shoot.
I will cause a distraction.
I have 4 successes and one of them is on my hunger die.
Wow. Okay. So, how are you going to try and distract this man?
I go and stand in front of him and I say, "Oh, this is very awesome. What are you doing over here?" And I peek behind him and I try to point towards the loading. I say, "Oh, this looks very... this is very interesting." And I walk past the man. And
Vernon is the
So
distraction.
what are we going to do for the roll for, hey, look over here?
Hey, look over here. It might be manipulation, I think, or no.
That's
Performance?
probably quite good.
Oh,
Manipulation and...
And
Yeah, probably performance.
Very
That
not-
sounds good.
Yeah, performance, which I got 0 in, so it will be manipulation with 2 dice.
Excellent.
I knocked over my mic.
Both of them
people-
blood
You
dice.
got to stop staring into my eyes, man.
Yeah, I know. I
at what
put
you're
on,
doing.
I put on the sunglasses to block it off, but it's not working.
So how did we do?
So I have 2 zeros, both of them blood dice.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So he's gonna die?
Wow.
this looks... Oh, there's so much blood over here. I cannot hold
Excellent.
myself.
So, you're standing right next to the door that came up from the stairs, which is still open, and the sewer is still open. So, you have, as you've tried to distract him, you've tried to turn on whatever sort of innate charm you have. Unfortunately, your charm isn't really for humans, is it?
What do you mean?
A
Well,
bunch of rats come pouring out of the sewer.
I'm very sorry, but I find this offensive.
so a chittering and squeaking
Oh no.
can be heard coming from the sewer,
Gosh.
and as though reacting to a master's call, about 24 quite large rats come scurrying out of the stairs and start streaming past you towards where the loading was going on.
Oh my.
Wilhelm, Heinrich, back into the sewers. Hans, no, Hans, don't touch the blood bags. Don't touch. Ah, Scheiße.
That has no effect. They're off and running.
Why do you guys never listen to me? And I run after the rats.
Wow.
So you successfully grab the phone.
Yep, I do.
I think that Vernon has increased his hunger by 1 by summoning a whole bunch of rats and now chasing them round, trying to get them to stop doing whatever they're doing. It was a suitable distraction. So the phone is now in your possession, and the man kind of shrugs you off and looks a little bit perturbed and goes to follow to where the 2 doctors and their subject have gone into the room, and he leans through and he kisses the doctor, Sushmilk, on the cheek and says, "Now, my darling, I have another matter to attend to, but I will of course be back before dawn. Love you." And walks out, or makes to walk out towards the front door.
Sorry, who is this person that's kissing the doctor?
It's, I assume, her husband, because she...
No, but like, was he the guy that was loading up the?
He was the guy that was loading up all the blood, and he's quite young, quite athletic, blonde hair, very well dressed.
Is he turned?
He is certainly turned.
Kindred?
He's certainly a vampire.
Okay.
He's so hot right now.
Anyone going to stop him?
I sort of clumsily just walk into his path, so he sort of, he sort of slams into me. Whoa, excuse me there, fella. Just now you're a good-looking kindred now, aren't you? And while I'm trying to distract him and he's bumping into me, I try to sort of touch his... What is he wearing? This short sleeves or anything? Where is he showing skin is what I want to know.
Just on his hands and face. He's wearing a very nice shirt, trousers, and an overcoat jacket.
I take his hand into one of these. Terribly sorry for that, good sir. You be on your business. And again, I try to rub some blood onto the back of his hand.
Okay, would you like to give me one of your attempting?
Yeah.
And I will roll against you.
Oh, you do need dice.
I do need dice.
Have I fed yet? Because it seems like a lot of shit's going on over there. I just want to eat.
Very quick.
Aren't you feeding?
It was like one sentence, one action, a pile of rats, man. I don't know.
I love the system just because you get to roll so many dice. It's
It's very satisfying.
it's very satisfying.
Until
I'm
they're
going to
all
tell you
below
now,
5.
I've got 5 successes.
I got 6. I've got 6 successes, one of which is a
damn.
critical, not on my hunger die.
Excellent. So, you are going to be able to transfer the blood onto his hand without him noticing.
Sure.
But he sort of takes your hand and he says, Dr. Lothar, lovely to see you. I've got to run, actually. I'm supposed to be setting up for tomorrow.
So
No
Julianna-
problem. Excuse me for running into you. Go about your business. Have a good evening, and have fun tomorrow at the equinox and stuff. It's gonna be great. Just look up to the moon and thank the moon and the earth spirits for being here, because it's all just beautiful times.
Sort of.
Great
a
days.
happy new year to you too.
Yeah.
So Julianna, kind of not really stepping in his way or anything like that, but moving herself a little bit more towards the door at the end of this exchange. I would like to use my presence to inflict awe, to draw attention to myself at this point, to catch his attention, so that I can also talk to him, please.
Okay, that will be a rouse check.
Yes, it will be.
Thank you so much for remembering the things that vampires can do. Just
Yep.
I literally have
Somebody
clip
had
notes
to.
in a document on my
Yeah.
screen. I do succeed.
Okay. So I think from an operatic standpoint, there's going to be sort of it's almost like you're projecting a musical score.
As in, like, with movements or vocally?
I think
both,
it's just
or
more
all.
in people's heads. It's just almost like
Oh,
in
dramatic entrance music.
Yes, is exactly how that would manifest.
So there is this fantastic, like, cadential, like, phrase that is just reminiscent of every curtain lifting you've ever seen in every musical. And Julianna, like, slides to the side gracefully, clicking her shoe, very much expecting that this man is about to turn and look at her, and goes, "Oh, one who is involved with the preparations. Pray tell, dear sir, with what can we grace your responsibility in our understanding of the festivities?" Essentially, sorry if you couldn't keep up. What is it exactly that you need to prepare for?
So he's in awe. Oh no, wait. It's AWE, isn't it? Okay, awe. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible
Yeah.
joke. So yes, right. So he sort of turns and he's just, well, my dear lady.
Flabbergasted?
Well, my dear lady. Although I cannot, yes. Although I cannot profess to being able to provide such musical and theatrical.
You can.
One thing we can do, however, is provide excellent sustenance for vampires of this magnitude.
Oh, naturally. And have you taken the preferences list? How would one prepare for such an auspicious occasion?
My darling,
Is that what you were doing outside?
my darling, I know everybody that is everybody in London. And everybody who is everybody is already on the list and already catered for. I'm sorry, who are you?
wait, I never got an email. Is that what you call it these days?
Oh, don't worry. I was just passing through, my darling.
Excellent. Well, if you have no need for me, I'm going to nip out and attend to my duties.
Of course, precious.
Okay,
And she is gonna let him go at this point.
excellent.
I do
So
not
he's
like
going to
what
head
I've
towards the
learned.
door and head out. I believe that Dr. Victor was attempting to eat, but there seems to be a lot of setup with Dr. Sushmilch, and she was interrupted. Now she's saying, "Now I would like to see you in the perfect moment. So if you don't mind, if you could approach the subject and really sort of try your hardest." And that's all going on in there with you. Is there anything you'd like to do with the phone?
There are several things I want to do, but I don't want to do it while I'm being watched necessarily. And so is this one of the areas that we're in right now where the security camera is covered based on like my previous? Perfect.
No, only in the internal rooms, not in the main spaces.
So then the phone, I'm going to pull out immediately and check like call history, text history, and pictures on the camera.
So it immediately opens to your face.
Of course it does.
Of course it does.
Of course
And
it does.
there is a brand new video saved.
I'm going to watch that very like, oh, eek. I'm so stressed out about what I might be about to see. It's fine.
So, the video is taken of the face of Florence Foster Jenkins hiding under the desk that you saw in the VIP room. And she's saying into the camera, it's him, it's Lothair. I know it's Lothair. He's gonna try and hush all this up. It's me they were after. I don't know what to. And while she's talking, you hear the door open, and then she's being dragged out of the room. The phone's still lying, pointing upwards, and you hear her screaming, and then muffled screams, and then silence.
So, I have a question because I remember skimming something like this. It's specifically like, so my clan Bane has specific things that like when they happen, I can get upset, whatever. If something like horrendously upsetting were happening, I know it's not my specific clan Bane, but remind me what the penalty for that is.
So, I would like you right now to make a rouse check.
Okay.
Please.
That's great. That is a fail.
Right. So, your mask begins to slip.
Yep.
And although to the world you show this prim, proper, you're now in full
Oh dear.
rage. Your hunger increases by 1,
Okay.
and your mannerisms and demeanor now become highly focused on only finding
Him. Who just ran out the front
who
door.
just ran out the front door.
Great. So she watches this video, and if you'll allow me, narrator, to have the wherewithal to calmly pause it, like stop it, calmly place it in my pocket, and then if Fernan and Dan are watching, when she spins around, you can see that all of that calm is a completely fake facade. She has fangs out. If her eyes can glow, they are. I don't know, man. And she just says in the, like, lowest end of her vocal range, "Get that man for me!" and books it towards the door that this guy just left.
So she's referring to the guy that I just shook hands with. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
She is.
I would like to try and activate one of my rituals. If you'd be so kind, good narrator.
Absolutely.
So I'm unsure. They're unclear on what time or what part of this ritual takes what time and what you can prepare in advance and not. But let's just say, for the sake of the story, that right at this moment, I pull out a golden dagger from my coat, slice open the inside of my hand, and I activate whatchamacallit, Dagon's Call. Now I'll get the rules for Dagon's Call right here.
Oh my gosh. I'm freaking out so hard.
Dagon's
at
Call,
everything.
a terrifying technique employed by the assassins of the Banu Hakim. This ritual lets the user rupture the very blood vessels of the victim from afar, having only touched them but briefly previously. Mortals expire rather messily, and even vampire must fear this silent killer. So, ingredients are a golden-laid ceremonial dagger, and the process is, I must have, there must have been some blood touched. I slice open the inside of my hand and must make a resolve for resolve plus blood sorcery versus stamina and resolve. So you need to roll some dice, my friend. I'm very sorry. So blood sorcery and resolve. Let's find it right here. That's 5 dice for that. And resolve is 3. All right. Just make this roll. I love the amount of dice I'm rolling. Ooh.
I fear it.
Ooh. So finally some action, people. Because I scored 2 successes and 1 critical. As in I scored 2 criticals. One of which is on my hunger die. So it's a messy critical. So a critical counts for 4 successes, I believe. So I have 6 successes in total with a messy critical.
So 6 successes against my 5.
Every point of margin on a win does a point of damage to the victim as their blood vessels burst and their lungs fill with blood. This damage is aggravated for mortals but superficial on vampires.
So you are going to succeed in laying a blood trail behind this person. But for a messy critical, your ties to this person have become quite strong. The force that you've put into this spell has severely weakened you. I'm going to knock 2 points of health off.
Alright.
And your masquerade has also started to slip. The mask has begun to come off, and you're starting to... So for some time, you're going to be going into almost full preacher mode. So when you're addressing your followers, you tend to sort of get into this trance where you're sort of really super animated and into sort of trying to get vampires to follow you, preaching against the tower and what all that it stands for. So you're going to be in full tower hate mode, I think, for the next couple of hours.
Now witness the power of the true Tamrir as we find out who was actually right. And I slice open my wrist and his blood vessels pop open from the inside.
So you have successfully laid a blood trail, so you'll be able to follow this
right.
vampire. You might need some assistance in following it, because I don't think any of you are particularly good at tracking.
Maybe
one person might be.
Maybe my rats are very good at tracking this creature.
Mm-hmm.
So I instruct the rats, follow him, follow that man,
And
follow the blood trail.
The chittering horde of 24, 30 odd rats go flying out the door. Now,
Pursued by a very angry opera singer?
yes.
Are we trying to attack this person? Or just trail him?
If she has if she has a moment to answer that question, what you get is her turning her very not sane face towards you going, "We're gonna kill him!"
Okay. Wilhelm, Heinrich, go for the face like you do with me all the time. Go for the face. I have trained you on this. This is your purpose.
Is Dr. Garnet going to be joining you?
I don't
have.
know. I'm in a different room. I assume I don't know what's going on.
All of this has happened. So these curtained areas are right off the main room where this has happened. And you never closed the curtain door because he leaned in to kiss Dr. Sue's milk. You haven't even started feeding yet.
Then I'm gonna ignore them and feed.
Right.
I mean, it seems like a lot. She watched a video and everything. Like, I feel like I should have at least bitten by now.
Okay. At which point, please remove 1 point of hunger and add the conditions for being under the influence of cocaine.
Yay!
Yup.
Guys, 2 of us are feral and 1 is high.
Yes.
Vernon, it's all on you.
Wait, who's... Sorry, remind me, who's feral? Or who's high? Because I might be somewhere in between, you know?
You're preaching. It's fine.
I think that's an excellent place to have a quick comfort break.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes. We're back. Oh, thank you so much for sticking around and watching us play this crazy game called Vampire the Masquerade.
So while all this craziness is going on in this freaking lobby, Victor is just completely single-minded on this young man with healthy but cocaine-rich blood. And he, like, very gently and seductively sort of convinces him that he should give him his blood voluntarily. And then after feeding from him, he just, like, runs his fingers across his face and completely makes him forget the entire process.
I think while this is happening, Dr. Sushmilk is just, this is wonderful, this is beautiful, completely ignoring everything that's going on, like just completely focused on taking notes. It's, this is wonderful. Yes, I can
pile
see
of rats for a ritual or whatever.
Yep, just
nothing.
Not interested.
Wow, she's a character.
Yes, but you know, she's from the old country. So, as you're dashing outside.
Yep, I am doing that.
All right.
The first tendrils of dawn are starting to peek up over the sky. The streets are basically deserted. All the revelers are sort of gone home. There's very little traffic around. And as I say, the first sort of tendrils and finger lights of dawn are just starting to appear in the eastern sky.
So we know it's not till tomorrow that it's supposed to be?
So this morning is when the eclipse is supposed to happen.
Okay.
So and you can see the moon low in the eastern sky.
So what roughly? Feral isn't stupid, I assume, because the beast, knowing its things, isn't trying to die. So about how long? Because there was supposed to be a little sun and then an eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
About how long are we looking for shelter for, essentially?
About 2 to 3 minutes between sunrise and the eclipse.
Okay. So, there's a horde of rats following a trail on the street.
Yeah, what?
And it is following a trail, making a beeline for the National Gallery.
Yeah,
which is only... you can see it. It's just down the road.
And it seems probably, considering what it is, it might be relatively secure?
Relatively.
Okay. So, in full hunt, Julianna's still going to stop. I assume Vernon ran out with them because he's sicked his rats. Okay.
You are my new best friends.
They're delightful. She's going to swing, like, still just with the most dramatic of motions. She's going to swing around on Vernon, like, full beast still and say, "Do the sewers lead to the gallery?"
Do the sewers lead to the gallery? I say to the Lore Master.
Absolutely.
I should know that.
Absolutely. You know exactly how to get into the National Gallery.
Yes, of course, my dear. Oh, you will go to my realm. It's so beautiful. This night couldn't have been better. Oh, sorry, this day. And
You will take me to my prey. And she honestly looks enthralled at the idea that he might be able to get her there safely.
Of course. Oh, this is just like the sound of music. The sewers are alight with the sounds of music. And I open the grates, the nearest grate, and I dive into the sewers.
She dives right the heck after you, man.
As that's happening, back inside the
one
blood
ruined
bank,
dress.
I take the knife again and put it against the palm of my hand, and I yell out to Victor, "Victor, get your bloody fangs out here at once. We got a problem. We found who's ever doing this." And then I slice my wrist again for first a rouse check, which is
Dude
nothing.
is really into this.
And then I roll another check to damage the guy that's running away from us, to rupture his blood veins.
Oh,
So
I need to...
you can roll as well, which was the stamina versus a resolve.
That is right.
Meanwhile, Victor's like, "Oh, what is going on out there? But I suppose I should go check on them." And he like gets up and like runs out to the open lobby. Like, what's going on? What are you doing? Where did everyone else go?
I got 4 successes on that one.
So, I messy critical.
All right.
What does that mean for this chat?
Yeah, what does
An
that mean?
interesting question. I think you'll find out.
All right, great.
Oh,
But you aren't going to be doing any more damage.
Not this time. All right, I can still do that one more time. We better start running. It was the doctor's husband all along. Let's go, man.
It was him. Okay. Are we sure?
While you were doing all your hokey pokey with the girl or the guy, I don't even know what you were feeding on, we were doing the real detective work, and it seemed that our good friend, the opera singer, figured it out, and, well, he's on the run, so we better start moving, is what I'm saying.
Well, then let's go. We'll go right now. We'll take care of this. And
that's such a gentle version of events.
he just like sprints out the front door at full speed.
I start to sprint out as well, and I'm pretty quick because
I
of
think
all the
you-
yoga, you know?
I think you exit just as they're diving into the sewer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Juliana goes feet first, to clarify. She's not
Yes.
like head first jumping in.
Can we
So they've
see
just-
the blood trail though?
Yeah,
you can see the
blood
rats. You can see the rats following the blood trail directly towards the National Gallery, and you can see Julietta disappearing into a sewer.
I'm gonna follow the rats then.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too. We're just following the blood trail.
Excellent. So
Uh-oh.
those in the sewer
Yeah.
are going to have quite an easy time getting there. Not a particularly pleasant time, but an easy time.
I could not care less about Pleasant right now.
Those following the rats are going to find the front door of the National Gallery on its hinges.
Right. Which means we can open it,
Yep.
right? We can just step through.
You can just step through off its hinges, I should have said.
He's
Yeah.
clearly come through this way. Let's go in.
Yeah, I'm following you, my man.
So the blood trail-
You look pretty strong, don't you?
I can handle my own.
Let's say you take. I figured you were one of those guys that want to be in first, so I'll just follow you.
So the blood
Generally
trail
have
leads-
others do my work for me, but that's all right. Blood trail leads. Sorry.
The blood trail leads straight up the stairs, and then straight up the next set of stairs to a very modern looking, very secure metal door.
All right. Is it open? By chance? I mean, he smashed his way through the first one. I don't know what happened.
He did, but this is a big, solid metal door.
Okay. I assume it's locked then, because I'll check it. But
Okay. Are you going to do it stealthily? Or are you just going to kick it open? That's the question.
I'd check it to see if it's locked first.
Okay. It's a push, sort of one of those push bar doors.
Okay.
So you are going to be able to open it, but are you going to open it sort of stealthily or smash it open? Either way, it'll be a roll. But
I mean, I'm high, so
Man, you're on cocaine. You feel like you can take on the world,
yeah.
probably.
He just comes running out the door. He's like, goes right through it.
okay, excellent.
He knows how to make a dramatic entrance.
Would you like to give me a strength and I think athletics? Just let's see if you can actually manage this.
Okay. I have my doubts. So that's 2 successes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's enough. So the door goes smashing open, and you are greeted with quite a scene, which I will describe once we decide what's happened to
The sewer dwellers.
those in the sewers.
We got there first.
The Morlocks.
Oh, I'm so glad we took the sewers. We had enough time to run through the streets, and you took the opportunity to see the sewers with me. It's so beautiful. I really appreciate this. I have very few friends.
Which way?
I imagine.
So
That's all.
it's literally 50 meters
Perfect.
to get under the
She's
building.
just like shaking grates or whatever, trying to figure out how to get out while he's talking.
Okay.
And I am trailing her, just talking about the sewer. You see that over there? That's not actually poop. That's not human feces. It's actually a dyed rat that dissolved a couple of centuries ago, and now it's just a puddle of brown mush. And oh, look over there! You know that smell? That distinct smell. Just keep talking all the way. Yeah.
So
Okay.
checking grates, probably looking first. Am I finding one that will let me into the gallery, please?
There's one that takes you into the bottom floor of the gallery, and I think you're making it to the top of the stairs as the doctor is smashing his way through an unlocked, quite simple door to open. But he's
Fantastic.
pretty
So I'm
he's
like
pretty angry.
on his heels. Oh, I am too. It's fine.
To be fair, he is absolutely not angry. He's just fucking jacked.
If Vernon, like, I honestly don't know what his like personality type is, but when she goes through, like when she opens the grating, Julianna probably like reaches out and grabs his shirt. I assume he's wearing one, and like drags him through with her rather than risk him like continuing to chatter about the sewers. So like depending on if that's allowed, they show up at the top of the stairs with her like pulling him after her, wanting to go faster and just like very intense about getting to her destination.
Vernon is very weak, so he lets you drag him all the way. You are his new best friend, so you can drag me all over the earth if you want to.
I think that just happens then.
There's romance. There's romance in the air.
No,
my
no
friends.
romance. My heart belongs to another, but this is my best friend.
Sorry, didn't mean to assume, my friend. Namaste.
So the scene that awaits you on the other side of this door is the flat roof over the gallery.
Okay.
So you're standing on the very top of the gallery, looking down onto the flat roof of the. So the gallery sort of looks like a factory. So you're standing at the very top of the factory, looking down on the main flat roof. On the flat roof below you, is a Obsidian Altar. Chained to that altar, with silver and staked to the altar through hands and feet is a rather demure-looking woman. The blonde hair, sort of young vampire that you were chasing is standing right on the edge, overlooking this, with his arms out wide, full beast mode, vampire, fangs out, shirt ripped off, drenched head to toe in blood.
Disgusting.
2 dead security guards lie at his feet.
Okay, well that was his barrel success, I would imagine.
And he is screaming to the heavens for sunrise and the supremacy of the vampire race.
Quick question, narrator, because it's going to determine what my priority is. Do I recognize the woman on the altar?
You recognize the woman as Florence Foster Jenkins.
Well,
Narrator,
Yes.
as somebody who has a deep understanding of the occult and more specifically blood sorcery, can I make any sort of check to figure out what they might be trying to do? Or
Yes, so if you'd like to give me a wits and occult.
oh, can I give you a wits and
oh,
occult?
he's so excited for that.
Please don't forget your hunger.
Those are like my best. And for this occult check, would you think that's maybe some blood sorcery involved in there, so I can add another die, as it's my specialty?
Why not?
Why not? Love this. Love this. All right. Well, that's. I love this game so much. That's 9 dice. I'm rolling. 2 of which are hunger die. Oh man, that's a critical and 2 successes. So 2 criticals and 2 successes. So that's 4 plus 2 is 6 successes.
Hey.
Nothing on the blood die, unfortunately.
This is a very old ritual. So much so it's probably not even magic anymore. It's more just into the race memory of vampires, and is the sort of story that you tell freshly turned vampires to sort of scare them before they go to sleep in the day. The blood of an ancient one is incredibly potent and powerful. And so you will also know that obsidian is a very sort of strange mineral that reacts to vampire blood. So you tend to try to stay away from obsidian because it does very strange things if exposed to vampire blood. On the occasion it's known to explode. This is an incredible amount of obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
So, you recognize the words that he's screaming aloft to the heavens, and he is invoking the vampire powers to cover the world in eternal night.
All right.
Now, as this is going on, your hunger's been building, and you're in quite an interesting state of that, being a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what I would like you to make, because you've been intently focusing and studying what he's saying and sort of listening with intrigue,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is whether or not you can resist him.
Ah, interesting.
So, I would like you to please roll face to face, and this is going to be manipulation versus wits. Straight up roll. with hunger dice.
I'm going to roll wits only.
You will be rolling wits. He will be rolling manipulation.
Oh dear.
And if you let me roll first,
Yes.
because I think it will be slightly more dramatic.
I was going to ask if I could add my resolve to that, as it might be going against my personal beliefs. But I've read in chat that they already think that I'm asking too much of the narrator, so I'll leave it.
No.
I'll just roll the four. I'll just roll the
think
4
chat
dice for a
supports
wit.
Okay. So I rolled a bestial success earlier.
You rolled a bestial success.
I have just rolled a bestial failure.
Ah.
So,
Shall I make my roll then with the 4 die for wits, 2 of which are hunger die, just to see what happens?
yes, please.
All right.
And I'm just sitting here being like, I have like 3 priorities. Very quick. I'm terrified. Oh gosh, this is fine.
Out of the 4 die, I rolled 3 successes, 2 of which were on the regular die, 1 of which was on the hunger die.
So you succeed in not succumbing to his preachings, delusions, whatever you
Right.
want to call them. But he is now ranting, and he turns to the 4 of you as though a congregation, and arms outstretched, screaming to the heavens, inviting his brothers and sisters to rise and take what is theirs.
I have a few questions, narrator. Because the sun is coming up,
It certainly is.
is there anything immediately apparent that could be used or usable to protect a vampire from the effect of sunrise? Or no? Okay.
Not immediately apparent looking around.
If
So
only
in-
you had a Tremere vampire with you that could cast a ritual of firewalking, that would have been very nice.
So you had said that the woman was staked by hands and feet and chained to this obsidian? I have enough intelligence to recognize my limitations, but I'm also in essentially feral mode. I have a dagger. Is it something that could potentially pick the locks on manacles? If you
I
want me
think
to
there's
roll.
only one way you're going to find out.
Perfect. So I do not care that this person is preaching at me.
Okay.
Julianna tries to fling herself off that edge towards this altar to unstake and unchain this woman.
Okay.
All right, and while she's
That is
doing
the
that,
fastest way, yes?
Yes.
That
It's
is
only
the
about a
fastest
30-foot
way.
drop.
I could not care less.
No.
Sorry. Doctor.
Are you
Well-
still holding poor Vernon in the process? Okay.
while she's doing that, Victor is going to make an appeal towards this man to see if he can get him to be less insane and realize that he's about to bring the full weight of the Camarilla on him.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Uh,
let's just assume that I yelled out loud that he's trying to cover the entire world in eternal darkness.
Fair. Even if he didn't,
makes
he's
a
in
difference.
public view with an elder vampire staked to a friggin'
Sure.
stone. Like, there's a lot
Yeah.
going on here.
There's a lot of breaching of the masquerade going on with rats running through the streets following blood trails, but yeah.
So yeah, he's just calling out like, enough of this. The Camarilla has sent us. You're going to end this insanity, or we're going to put an end to you. And I would like to sort of, if I can, leverage my status into that as well, because I'm very well known.
Don't you know?
Wait, are you?
I
Yes. he
I
is.
think manipulation and intimidation is what you're trying to do right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Can I leverage those extra status dice in there?
I will, yeah, I think you can throw your status dice into that, sort of invoking the Camarilla as
Nice.
as highly placed as you are.
Hold on, that's 4 plus 4 plus 2. So that's 10. I don't have any more dice left over. Oh, one of them's the blood dice. Okay, so it's an exchange, not an add, right?
Yes.
So the red one's the blood dice then in this case. So I've got 3 critical successes, and I've got 3 more successes that aren't critical, and I've got 2 critical failures, one of which is on the blood dice.
Excellent.
But I feel like the critical successes probably cancel that out. I don't know.
They do.
Oh
But
my goodness.
you are going to gain some hunger.
Okay.
But you are, the force of your words kind of almost staggers him, and he's going to have to make a dexterity check because he's standing on a roof, on the ledge, kind of ranting to the sky about the supremacy of vampire kind. So,
Meanwhile, Julianna just leaps off next to him.
yes, has leapt off,
Yeah.
which we haven't forgotten about.
I do have celerity if it helps, which lets me pass dex or athletics rolls needed to keep my balance.
Yes. Keeping your balance and throwing yourself willingly off a ledge.
No, I know.
I mean, that's 30 feet to a vampire, though, really.
So I critically fumbled while bestial while standing on a ledge. So I think I'm headed down
with me.
with you. So, would you like to make me a dexterity or strength
Dexterity.
with probably survival?
Okay.
And I will do nothing of the sort because I have just fallen off, not jumped.
So I have 2 successes. One is on a hunger die.
But not critical success.
Well, one of them is a critical. Like I rolled a 10 and a 9.
Okay.
The 9 was on the hunger die, and so I think that
Okay.
means nothing.
So I think we're going to be taking 3 points of health
I am fine with that.
as we plummet. I'm taking 5, plummeting off the edge, which is leaving me not in a good place. Or I should say, leaving the protagonist not in a good place. But you succeed.
Okay. Then I am continuing at exactly what I planned, being not currently dead, or any more dead than usual. It's fine. I am rushing straight to the altar and pulling the stakes out first, and then attempting to use my dagger and hopefully my larceny skills to to pick the locks on these chains somehow. And probably even from this distance, everybody on the top ledge can like hear her like screaming. I'm gonna say what she's screaming is "Madam," and you can probably tell that it's a relatively personal word.
So now that you're up close, you can tell she looks awful. She has clearly been drained almost to death.
I have priorities, I hope.
Yep. Would you like to make me a strength and larceny? Please, remembering you've just
Summon
fallen
my blood dice.
and
Yeah.
you've probably upped your hunger by 1 having fallen
Okay.
and taken that much damage.
Okay. I
Well,
get 3 successes, but I'm only rolling with hunger dice, so all of them are on hunger dice.
Okay.
I have 3 dice to roll for that, and
That's fine.
3 hunger, so 3 hungry successes.
Successes are fine. Critical
So-
successes is what's...
They are
going
not
to-
critical.
No, yeah.
You are unable to remove 2 of the stakes, and the chains are made of silver.
So I can't touch them.
So touching them is going to really hurt, and you are already hurt.
Okay.
So I flick back then to the top of the tower, reminding you now that the sky, as you approached here, was the sort of the first fingers of light. The sky is now a very light rose color.
Where are Victor and I?
And Vernon, I believe.
All standing on the top of what looks like the sort of chimney stack of the factory, and they're 30 feet below you on the flat roof of the gallery.
Is where the obsidian is, and
That's where all that is. Yes.
also the person we were following is now down below.
Flat on his back, but staggering up, running towards the altar.
Yeah.
If you two could distract him, I could help the lady.
Well, I can help the lady as well, but I can also hurt that guy. So
Please hurt that guy. I have a plan with the lady.
all
He's my
right.
best friend, guys.
Guter Wilhelm! Heinrich,
If you're
Hans, quickly! Climb on my back! I will go downstairs!
so
I
my
wait until the rats mount me, and then I jump down.
the rats mount you.
Okay.
The worst possible phrase.
in the same vein, it will be a dexterity and survival
Yes.
as you jump down.
Given the instructions we just received and seeing as how that maybe makes the most sense right now, I don't know. I would like to activate my fortitude toughness, which I believe just takes a rouse check, which I don't know what that is still.
You just rolled a single d10.
And okay,
And if you succeed,
Everything
you fail.
above a 5 is
I succeed.
That's fine. Then that happens.
Okay, so then, and then I will just jump down onto him as an attack.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. So could you make me a dexterity and survival? But you're going to get to add your fortitude to
Okay.
it for surviving the jump. So I think actually, if you want to change to strength because of that, you could actually change to strength and survival, because you'd be not worrying about taking the damage because of the fortitude.
Right. Let me see. Hold on.
Do you have your sheet here? So dexterity is probably better for you.
Yeah, I'll do dexterity.
Dexterity, survival, and you can add 2 dice for fortitude.
Okay.
Ooh. That's a nice pool.
It would be if you had any survival skills.
Yes, it would be. So
Oh,
that's 2 successes. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm high, so I get to add another one.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's 3 successes,
Okay. That's enough to only take 1 point of damage
which I
As
think
you're
gets
falling.
ignored because of my toughness.
because of your fortitude.
yeah.
So, you land directly on top of him.
In the meanwhile, while he's jumping down, I think the last time will cut the palm of my hand
Oh my
and
God.
try to rupture his blood vessels from the inside.
Oh gosh, so that's gonna be messy.
So
Okay.
that's again a resolve for and blood sorcery on my end versus the stamina and resolve on your end.
So, let's both roll, and then we're going to have a chat about what
What?
we've just rolled.
Yeah.
He sounds like a disappointed dad right now. All right, we're gonna roll it, but then we need to have a chat about this whole situation.
So I've got 7 successes.
Oh my gosh.
What?
shoot, my stars.
What?
Hmm.
I got 2.
Okay,
That sounds
so he successfully overcomes the
Yeah,
thing.
it doesn't feel a
Just
thing.
what I'd like to know what the thought process was for trying to blow somebody up with their blood next to a giant thing of obsidian, which I tells you blows up if vampire blood hits it.
Well, I mean, I figure.
It's an interesting choice.
I think.
Didn't it just seep out though?
Listen, I think Dan
Maybe the word-
Elliott is a man of wisdom and action, and not so much maybe intelligence.
Wow.
Excellent. So, you're all now down. Well, most of you are down.
I'm still on
flat
top.
roof.
I'm
Yep,
still
most of you down
standing
the flat
there.
roof.
I just did the thing.
I jumped down and
You're,
I,
you're the
had,
only one that's not about to be burned up in sunlight.
I jumped down with 2 successes.
Yes, so you only take 1 point of damage,
Oh, that is great. So I only break 1 leg.
and maybe 1 rat is really not looking healthy.
Oh,
I will patch you up later, Hans. I will patch you up later. And I lay down the rat on the seat back. Let's go to the lady. We must help her. And I run as fast as I can to the lady and the obsidian stone or whatever it's called.
Okay.
Can I help her now?
So I think it's going to be a rouse check
Oh,
for your ability to command the rats.
Wait, I also have to make a rouse check for the time
the
that I slot my. No, every additional
Every time
time
you-
that I
between
try to
slots.
do it, I need to make new rouse check.
Sure.
Nothing.
Excellent.
I'm good.
so for my rouse check, I roll a 3.
So, yes. So you're trying to exert a lot of control over a bunch of absolutely terrified rats that have just flown through the air.
Let me just add, I have animal ken and an animal handling rats.
You certainly do. So we're going to be rolling on your ability to control the rats, but it's going to be quite difficult and your hunger's going to increase because you're going to have to exert a lot of control to get these rats to do what you want.
Okay. So it will be animal ken, which is 4 dice, and then it's charisma or I think manipulation. On this point.
Manipulation, I think, is
Yes,
correct.
manipulation at this point. So let's see if we can help the lady. I say to the rats, no through the wrists and the feet. That's the only way to get them free. Oh, and that's
that is not great phrasing, but okay. I am concerned.
that's one that's 1 success.
One
Not
success.
Yes, on 7 dice. So that's not the optimal.
So the good news is they're not going to gnaw through her feet and wrists as you directed. The bad news, they're going to be able to loosen the silver chains, but not fully remove them.
That was what I extracted. The wrists, they are weak.
Okay, now that I've got this guy's attention from being on top of him, I've just never said that sentence before. I would like to.
We have lived different lives.
I would like to mesmerize him.
As
So-
one does.
Excellent idea. So I
You-
believe that would be a rouse check to be
Yes.
able to
So-
attempt to mesmerize.
Okay, I will roll the
So-
rouse check, and then I think
Single
it.
D10.
I thought it was like a contested thing for this.
It
there's
will, but
prob-
you need to be able to do it first.
No, I failed.
Okay, that doesn't mean it's a failure. That just means interesting things happen. So we are
On
going
the
to
rouse
increase.
check? Okay.
We are going to increase your hunger because you're going to
Alright.
have to really concentrate to get this to work, and you are trying to mesmerize a raving lunatic that just fell off a roof.
That makes sense.
Manipulation against what?
I think it was 2 skills for each. Manipulation and dominate versus
Okay.
intelligence and resolve.
Excellent. So I'm rolling this many dice with that much hunger. This can only go well.
Do I
I'm
still
gonna
get
roll.
to...
I'm going to roll 4 hunger dice now.
Okay. Do I still get to add my drug stuff to this?
Yes, you're still drugged up.
All right. And 3 of these are hunger dice now. So.
Yep.
Oh boy. Here we go. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. One of them is a crit, and that's a blood dice. But it's only 1, right? That doesn't
Okay,
activate.
that's fine. That's not a crit.
Oh,
Okay.
I failed to pass a single roll.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Oh, now
wow.
you
wow.
feel.
No, this is
Man.
a really good time for him to fail, guys, because now I've got his eyes, and I'm like, go free her and end this madness.
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Okay, so you seem to have tapped into something in his head, and he's sort of, yes, we must all be sacrifices. We must all burn in the fires of the sun to bring about eternal darkness.
Wait, that's
And so he jumps up onto the altar, grabs the silver chain, and starts wrapping it round his own feet. So 2 of the silver chains are now loose enough. There are still a couple of stakes, but he is taking some serious damage, having just jumped off a roof. With only 1 left, he's going to be falling unconscious while wrapping himself in silver chains.
Sounds great.
That's fine. He can burn here. That's
I mean, it might make the altar blow up. So, like, what I would like to do, narrator,
Mm-hmm.
I would really like to use my Auspics of Premonition to try and experience a flash of insight to figure out how the heck I could get this woman off this altar and all of us to somewhere not in the middle of the sun in the next minute.
while she's trying to figure that out.
Rouse check, please.
I also want to jump down to this, to be
Okay.
near this.
yeah. You may as well
situation.
die with us, right?
Dexterity and survival, please.
Well, if she's trying to figure out ways to get her free, then
Okay. How was the rouse check?
It passed.
Okay. What's the roll for?
So the Auspics roll for Premonition is Resolve plus Auspics.
Please roll that with appropriate hunger.
Okay. I roll 4 success, 1 on a hunger die. None of them 10s.
None of them crit. Okay.
Yeah.
You have 4 vampires
Uh-huh.
lifting an unconscious vampire staked to an obsidian altar. So if you all pull together, you might do some damage to her hands, but they'll grow back.
Yep.
That's what I
That
said.
seems fine at this point.
The river is 20 yards to your right, off the edge of the building.
And
Water will block it, and you'll be able to swim directly into one of the sewer pipes.
heckin' yes. Okay. So for just a second, Julianna's face, like, again, still very feral, but it feels like her beast is pulling out all of its reserves to do the only thing that it wants to do, which is live through this while getting this woman with them. And she just shouts at anyone who will listen, "Come pull! We need to go swimming!"
all right.
And, like, we'll explain that further if anyone is confused.
While she's saying that, I'll be slicing my own wrist and make a rouse check.
Yep.
That's a success.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make my blood corrosive and spray it across the silver chain to sort of dissolve the chain and free the woman on the obsidian block.
Silver? Silver's very non-reactive.
I think it's stakes are holding her hands, though.
But yes, so the chains are already off. It's
Yeah.
the stakes that are the issue.
Yeah.
Oh, the chains
Stakes pretty high
were
right now.
they were already off before I did this thing. Sorry,
Yep.
I totally missed that. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
think we have 2 minutes till sunrise, guys.
Yep.
But
I'm
could
pulling.
could everybody there please make me a strength check?
Yeah.
Yes.
So just straight up strength rolls. Between the four of you, I need 5 successes.
Yes.
I have one.
Only
Grab
strength.
I also
tightly.
Only strength.
Grab them
I
tightly.
have 2 successes.
I have 1 success.
That's. Oh, two critical failures with my blood dice.
So what's great about that is that's a critical fumble with the blood dice.
Yes.
So I think you rip her hand off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm
Acrobat.
sorry.
She's free.
Everybody else is able to drag her off the altar. Yep. Could you now please make me a dexterity and wits roll as the blood spraying from Dan Elliott hits the obsidian altar and it explodes as you all try to jump off the roof.
I rolled 5 successes.
Sorry,
Sorry,
dexterity
Dex and
and
wits?
wits.
Dexterity and wits to try and jump off the roof as it explodes.
So that's just dexterity then.
Come on, let's make this glorious, people.
Oh gosh, I need this to work.
Two
I'm so
successes.
emotionally invested.
One critical fumble.
Three
Another
suc-
critical fumble.
three
Yes.
successes.
So, all of the successors successfully jump off the roof and down into the water. As the obsidian altar explodes,
Oh no.
Vernon is lifted up and thrown somewhere towards the river, but you don't see where he lands.
No,
As the sun
not Vernon.
rises over the horizon.
Not Vernon. Come on.
And that is where we end.
No, can I try and save him? We need to save Vernon.
If you want to go back out there for your final sunrise, you're welcome to. But I'm counting this as a success.
It is a success,
I mean, I'm
but
not talking because I'm swimming, but okay.
I'm just trying to figure out
I
if
assume
there's
we
a
already went into the
situation
tunnel.
if there's a situation where he's hitting the water somewhere, and while we are all dragged off by the current, I can try and grab him or find him. No,
My best friend, I
Okay.
will always remember you.
You can also see it like this. In the sunburn, my flakes will be extra crispy.
They will be, and I'm sure that will make them extra delicious.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, that was Vampire the Masquerade.
Holy
B5.
cow, guys!
what a
That was actually very great. Thank you, Ash.
That was awesome, Ash. You did great.
yeah, Ashley. Thank you so much for this amazing one shot. Oh,
Oh
wow.
my gosh, that was so
Yeah,
good.
that was so much fun.
Everyone in
want-
chat, thank you so much for being here and making it awesome. I think I caught about 20% of what's happening in chat, but I really loved everything that I saw. And
Vix wants to know what we're playing next.
well, I can probably tell you, but you need to give me a second to figure it out.
I believe it's Call of Cthulhu next.
Yes, it will be the follow-up
Yes,
of
The
our
sequel.
Yeah, it will be the sequel to Call of Cthulhu, or Call of Cthulhu one-shot. So is it still technically a one-shot, or are we heading over into campaign territory? Is it?
Look at it this way.
Is it a
I have
two-shot?
absolutely watched professionals call 4 episodes a one-shot. So
Okay,
you're fine.
We're fine
You're
then.
fine.
As
You're
absolute amateurs, we're fine with calling 2 episodes one shot. So we'll be continuing our one shot of Call of Cthulhu in 2 weeks. Is that correct? Yes.
Awesome.
Weeks, yeah. That's
Yeah. So that's somewhere in October. Oh man, dates, calendars. I should have prepared for this. I know.
I think 2 weeks from now is September 27th.
Yeah. So that'll. Yeah, I don't think we have anything planned for that, and then it will be
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so is it
the
2 weeks
11th.
after that?
It's the 11th of October. So
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
everything we do here at Voidcast Live is on a bi-weekly basis, more by accident than by planning. But
Right.
so the next episode of Parallel Projections, which is where we're doing these one shots, will be in 2 weeks. And we'll have something there, but that's not yet determined. And then in 2 weeks, it's Call of Cthulhu. And I just want to thank Ashley for preparing this amazing one-shot. And I want to thank Eric, DM Shanks, and Lady Q for joining us. I had so much fun, and I wish we could have continued playing forever,
gosh.
basically.
For 7 more hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
I didn't even get to explain how important Vernon's sacrifice was.
Oh.
Julianna will carry the memory of him forever.
Oh, I was just looking at my character sheets, and there's so many stuff on there.
Yeah, I'm like,
get
I
to
didn't
use.
use half of this.
I very much used everything I meant to except the actual opera singing, and that's fine.
I very much though want an epilogue where like Dr. Victor Garnett is convincing the Camarilla to hand over all her research because of this to him. And he just like starts a new starts a whole new life back in New York.
Oh, that's now canon.
Awesome.
That's now canon. Dan Elliott will just go back to his modest home near Regent Park and continue his weekly yoga and Wicca magic lessons, where he's trying to teach people rituals and stay connected with the Earth Mother and the Moon Mother and the Star Father and everything,
All the
and
mothers.
to connect all the spirits and the chakras and to kickstart them into a new space, connect with space and time and everything, and just be yourself, love everyone, love yourself, and that sort of stuff.
In England, we just say, "You're right."
Oh, you're right.
I
You're right.
think if narrator allows, then Julianna's epilogue is basically something along the lines of, guys, here's the big reveal. Nursing her sire back to health.
Yes.
Who is the woman that you've been trying to save this whole time?
Oh, really?
So, slight franticness, and everything that was happening. But when she goes back onto the performing circuit, she occasionally, specifically on Fridays for whatever reason, goes to this random yoga place to provide ambient, beautiful music for this, it doesn't make sense that she's
I
there at
love
all,
that.
but she's
I picked
there
up
all
some-
the time.
I picked up some Tibetan throat singing back when I was traveling the world, and we could
And I'm sure I can duet
we could
with
sure
it with
use your
excellent
help right there.
Beautiful.
The fate of poor Vernon is yet unknown. We will find
Did
out.
we
in
see?
maybe
Did we
in the
see a
future.
puff of smoke?
A sunlight hit his corpse and a poof. It's like, it might be
think it's-
unknown to you, but we all know, man, you didn't survive.
I think it's somewhat unfortunate that the one person that got blown up is the one person whose fumes you could light.
I think it's sad because, honestly, Vernon was the weirdly sweetest character here, and But man, really, despite the fact that legitimately I was considering having to take a Bane when you were introduced as a character, like, actually, you completely changed Juliana's mind about everything to do with your clan, and she's legit, like,
And
you're her best friend. She'll remember you always for it.
Sure, they're great if you can get over the urine smell.
so here I just want to step out of the character roles and go into a more meta level. And I just love how Eric embraced, without really knowing the world of darkness, or to me, and I'm a newbie in the world of darkness and Vampire the Masquerade as well, but to me, the Nosferatu are the ones that look absolutely disgusting and horrid and everything, but they are actually the best people on the inside. So I think that Eric, for Total Noob, just caught that perfectly.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And-
Thank you.
And that's why I wanted to save you, man, because
I, as a player, really liked it. Victor could not care less if you died.
Like, legitimately, Juliana's gonna mourn him because, like, in character, like, he was instrumental to the fact, yeah, sure, he ripped her hand off. Nobody cares about that. That was still instrumental to the fact that, like, this lady isn't dead. And that's, like, the most important thing. Oh, that was so satisfying
Dan wants-
from, like, a
just wants
roleplay
to-
perspective.
just wants to get back to his yoga classes. But actually, there is something that needs to be resolved at some time, and I'm actually pretty curious what would have happened or what's happening to the people that I freed down in the lab.
Oh yeah.
I only opened the mortals cages.
Yep.
That was
And
cool.
the only thing that happened is they would have tried to escape and ended up down the pit, unfortunately.
Ooh.
That's that's
They were gonna
unfortunate.
end up.
Hey, but I
Yeah,
did.
good
I don't.
intentions.
I don't know. As
That,
far
that
as I,
doc doesn't stand
as-
for any escapees.
as far as I know, I did something great. I rescued some innocent people.
Why not?
Yeah, you're gonna go home and tell that story, completely unaware of the fact that they were ripped to shreds.
I'll be sleeping during the day like a baby. Like,
He was an interesting character. I don't know where that came from.
I really enjoyed your accents, Ash, and your NPCs, and you're helpful. I'm pretty sure I just jumped into River with an unread file because I never took the time to actually look at it.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
it was just going to be if you had no way of tracking him, it would have given
would-
you the ability to know where he'd gone.
It was always in the back of my mind of like, and if anything is confusing or they don't understand anything, she's yanking this out of her skirt and figuring it out. But it was like such smooth sailing from the point that they got the evidence. Oh,
I also want to congratulate you guys on really delaying enough so that we could hit exactly jumping off the roof at exact moment of sunrise.
it wasn't even
It was
delivered. I
good.
True professionals.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. 100%, absolutely. I wasn't stressed out and like freaking out at the 2-minute part of the countdown. Not at all. Definitely not.
I think none of us were. Actually, you
We're
did a
all
great
just-
job.
yeah.
Again,
Yeah,
this
you
is
did really
so
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Knowing-
guys are all so awesome, and I always enjoy hanging out with you.
Knowing Ashley a bit, I know we probably missed a bunch of stuff that was very obvious. Maybe even for the people that were watching the stream, who were going like, "Why didn't you just do this one thing?" But I mean, we're all here to just have fun, and I had so much fun this evening. So
Me too. It was great.
It was a blast. Thank you guys. It's excellent.
does anyone wants to? Is there anyone that wants to say anything to close off the evening?
If you missed
See
it,
you.
catch the VOD, watch the clips.
See you in 4 weeks.
Yeah. Great, good call. Good call. So the VOD will be up later this week on our YouTube channel if you want to watch back whatever happened. So I always add some music to the VODs on YouTube, and I also master the audio, so it will sound a bit better even. So even if you watched this live stream, it will be worth it to watch again on YouTube, is what I'm saying. Anyway, tomorrow, Eric, help me out. Is there a talking void tomorrow? I think there is.
I think there is. Yeah, sorry, my German accent. I think there is a talking void. Yeah,
Which was great, by the way. I loved your accent and your character. I loved all your characters, by the way. I really want to.
I loved everyone because you all did so great. It was so fun playing this night.
Oh, characters are the thing. Like for me, the story that the narrator was telling, like filled in with like these weirdo characters. I'm like, this is perfect, man. I love it.
So we can continue giving each other compliments for the next half hour, or we can, or we can close off this live stream. So, what do you guys want to do?
I know what I want to do, but I know what we should do also.
I got a bag here with enough feathers for everyone to be happy, is what I'm saying.
You're a darling, but it is getting on my dinner time. I'm in a weird time zone.
Well, hungrier than Victor at this point.
Time zones being time zones, it's past midnight here, so it's time to wrap up. But
it is.
Tomorrow, right here on twitch.tv/Voidcast Live, there's a episode of Talking Void where Jasper and tomorrow I think Jin, who's also from the Voidcast, are talking about tabletop RPGs and our latest session of Dungeons & Dragons campaign, The Precipice of Dreams. Live here tomorrow on stream. Next week on a Monday, there's another episode of The Precipice of Dreams, which is our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. It's been going for 30 episodes right now. Go check it out on YouTube if you haven't. In between that time, between tomorrow Tuesday and next week Monday, there will probably be some streams by these beautiful people right here, DM Shanks and Lady Q.
Rude, Ash.
Well, Ash is not live streaming.
I don't stream.
No. I will get to Ash later. So when are you guys streaming?
We're actually also streaming tomorrow, but in our evening, so 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're having a little talk about dice systems, including the satisfaction of dice pools. And then on Saturday, DM Shanks gets to get back in the DM chair for our Wizards
we're doing
campaign.
Another Wizards episode, which is going to be exciting. They arrived in a mining town that was mysteriously empty.
Yes.
And
Except for the ghosts. Yeah.
And then there were some ghosts that spoke to Moira.
Obviously. So go check out Topdown Tabletop on Twitch, but also go check out DM Shanks on his own personal channel and Lady Q on their own personal channel. DM Shanks just for the screams on Sunday and the other random gaming nights. I've seen you play Final Fantasy 15, which I've played.
Yeah.
And I love seeing you go through it. The Scream Sundays. I've seen you play Minecraft. I've seen Lady Q play Paper Mario, which I've actually played on the GameCube, which is also an amazing game. So go check all of that out because it's awesome content by awesome people.
Thank you.
So many beaver guns.
Yeah.
So many of those.
So now we're getting to Ash, which is keep an eye on Ash in streams around the globe. You might recognize him for being British, and you'd be right, because he is. And I think that's all we need to say about Ashley.
That is all the damning evidence we need.
Yeah. And with that, I'm really going to close off this stream. I have to open OBS right here. I think I don't have an outro prepared. Shall I just cut to black, like a Sopranos Sopranos season finale?
Do it.
All right, let's just wave and I'll cut off at some point. Yeah? All right. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Have a great evening. Have a great life. See you soon. Bye-bye.